racing, often leading to ultimate fighting. It is survival of the fastest. Will front row guys, Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson cruise? How about Carl Edwards? Can he get a grip on things today? Or will we stroll down memory lane with Dale Jarrett? The answers lie 500 laps away in the Food City 500, and it's NASCAR on Fox. The weather should be okay today after rain hit here most of the weekend. From the Hollywood Hotel, we are trackside. It's where America gathers every weekend for NASCAR. A couple of guys who've owned this place. 12-time winner Darrell Waltrip, champion crew chief Jeff Hammond, and I'm Chris Myers.
That's right. Bristol, Myers, and today, Squeaky.
Not Squib. He's got a little bit of a...
I'll be squiggy today.
A little bit of a sore throat, but he is excited because we've already had, whether it's been an oil cover, tires, we've had a push here, we've had rain there. Short track racing today, what should we expect?
Well, excitement. I mean, it's going to be so exciting. These cars, they just put on a whale of a show here. And I wish I could tell you how excited I am.
I'm going to say, what did he say?
Well, his voice, because he was hollering to be excited here this weekend.
The excitement Darrell's talking about here at Bristol is like no other racetrack we go to. And the thing about this racetrack this time, it's so unique, is the fact these guys are going to be able to go side by side like we've never seen them in the spring in recent years. So the beating and the banging and the shoving, it's still going to be Bristol. But because of the side-by-side racing, you better pull them belts tight one more time, as Larry Mack likes to say.
And the rain caused the cancellation of the qualifying, so we go back to the 2007 owner points last time. Jimmy Johnson on the pole along with Jeff Gordon up front. So Kyle Busch won the very first race in the car of tomorrow here at Bristol last year, but in the car now on a new surface, newly tracked resurface, Kyle is hoping to add to his points lead and win back-to-back. Here comes the wild thing.
You know the man I want?
Kyle Busch.
This kid he's a TV show in himself.
Wild thing, Kyle Busch. 4 straight top 10s at Bristol. Kyle joining us live, waving to the crowd and talking to us. Kyle, thanks, and congrats on the start so far. How about just a quick assessment? What's the biggest difference going from Hendrick Chevrolet to Gibbs Toyota? What stands out?
Well, I mean, the biggest thing that stands out is obviously both have great equipment. You know, the Gibbs organization and working with Tony and Denny and these guys, you know, they've got their stuff together. It's no slouch over here. So, you know, to have some fun that we've had with the Gibbs organization and with Toyota so far, we've run real well, and we've been fast everywhere we've been. So that's been cool. And, you know, just being able to keep it up front and, you know, keep M&Ms and Snickers and everybody, trying to get them back to victory lane, which luckily we were successful at last week.
Hey, Kyle, it's a DW. I hope you can understand me.
I can't hear you. What'd you say?
Hey, you can't use that aggressive style today. You're going to have to be a little conservative.
Yeah, you will. You're right. You know, we've got to make sure that that we go out there and we ride around for a while. I mean, it's 500 laps here in Bristol. You know, I don't think we're racing the weather today. Yesterday we were, and you know, we got caught up in that deal real early, like lap 15 or something like that. Just some impatientness by some other drivers and stuff like that got us caught up in that. But you know, here today I feel like we'll be all right, and you know, we can ride around for a while and take it easy and let the track sort of come to us a little bit, get some rubber down, and you know, make it more successful.
Kyle, I really need for you to listen to what we've got coming up next.
I'm still not a very big fan of these things. I can't stand to drive them. They suck.
Now, were you able to hear what that was said? I mean, last year when you were in Victory Lane here, you really did not like this new car. How's your feelings after having basically a year under your belt with it?
Oh, we lost him. But, you know, Kyle's made it big when Dick Berggren is his bodyguard.
Oh, I got
that. You see him riding along there. So,
and he really didn't want to answer that question, right?
you sound good.
Okay. Hey, you want to make a note? Because we're at Bristol, you can write me notes, and I'll be glad to relay.
You're going to have to.
Yeah.
All right, to save your voice a little bit, let me get your thoughts on the kind of driving style, and Darrell can relate the aggressiveness here, what he has to do on this track. Kyle Busch has been successful here, so he understands what he has to do.
He does understand that, and again, the tires today are going to be a big factor, and if you get too aggressive, I mean, we know he can get up on the wheel and hustle around here. He can sling that car in the bottom, the top, no matter where it is, and make it stay going straight. But the thing is today, he's got to conserve the tires.
Conserving the tires.
People will get out of his way, though, I bet you.
All right.
They see him coming.
He'll get out of his way.
Hey, you'll have to conserve your voice a little bit. We have a lot more to come as we count you down to the start of today's race.
Junior, the 88 car.
Bristol, the 5th of 36 races, the Sprint Cup point standings. Junior moving up from 10th to 6th. How about Brian Vickers, a bit of a surprise name in the top 10? Starting with the next race in Martinsville, the top 35 drivers in this year's owner's points automatically make the field for each race. So that'll make today for some desperate drivers. Kyle Petty, Sam Hornish Jr. right now on the outside. Mayfield, Yaley just on the inside. So who's the heat on today?
I think that he's got to be on a guy like Kyle Petty because of the fact he runs so well here, Chris, and he needs to get that 45 car up in there. And we've seen him do it before. But the guys like Michael Waltrip, Dale Jarrett, a lot of these guys, they've got to get up there today and fight hard.
Don't forget the Petties have got a former champion in their stable, too, that they could use that champion for visual, move those points around. That could be a possibility.
Yeah, Hornish Jr. has never run on this track, so a challenge doubly for him. All right, if you think the tire story is tiresome, what if you were driving them? Last week in Atlanta, there were no blowouts, just a blow-up from Tony Stewart, saying the tires were too hard for the track and made the car extremely difficult to drive. He finished second, but called the most pathetic racing tire that he's ever used in his professional career. After a meeting with Goodyear executives, Tony didn't budge, but he added that he spoke in frustration and apologized to the people who work at Goodyear. Now, some of the drivers actually supported Tony, were a little more diplomatic, but will the tires be an issue today at Bristol?
I think they will, Chris. It's because of the fact they tried to give the tires more grip, and in the process, they're actually wearing a little more aggressively. And on top of all that, the rain we've had here has washed all the rubber off this racetrack. So these first few runs, first probably 150, 200 laps, it's going to be real dicey whether or not you can get up on the wheel and how aggressively you can attack this racetrack.
The tires themselves may not be a problem, but the wear, the rubber is building up on the outside of the track. That's caused a lot of problems in practice.
Real quick, some drivers handle tires, but Kyle and Tony seem to do all right on those tires.
You've got to learn how to pace yourself. That's the whole thing. You got to know what you're working with here. If you attack that corner, you're going to wear the right front tire out. If you get the car loose and sideways, you're going to wear the right rear out. So you've got to learn how to be patiently aggressive, and that's what you got to do. You got to float it off in that corner.
Yeah.
I need Darrell Waltrip driving today.
You got to slow down to go fast.
Exactly.
You got to remember that. Slow down and go fast.
And if you have a question like that, you can go to foxsports.com, Ask the Pros, built by the Home Depot. Anytime on the clock, and the total time of 2:15. Darrell, we start with you. Hang in there. Generally speaking, is Tony Stewart being up on a soapbox, is that a good thing for NASCAR?
Well, it's not a good thing for NASCAR. We only have one tire company. We got to take care of them. Now, we want them to build good tires. But in my career, a good tire was a safe tire. And you got to have some performance, but you got to have safety.
Now, you like when Tony speaks up, right, Jeff?
I just remember when he used to do it, and he was pretty good at that time, so I kind of like it.
Okay, all right, Jeff, Jimmy Johnson will bounce back, right? 13th in points, but according to the first 4 races, worst position he's been in a season for him.
And I'm telling you right now, when you look at the numbers, coming to Bristol is not a good place to turn it around. So for he and Chad Knaus, if they can get out of here, in my opinion, with a top 10 finish, it's as good as a win to get him back on track.
All right. Darrell, the car, new track configuration here. Do we still see tempers getting heated or no?
Well, it's a lot easier to race here now.
Okay.
There's more room. You can move high. You can move low. Before, you had to root a guy out of your way to get by him. Now you can dime in the corner, set him up, make a clean pass. What I don't want to see, I don't want to see these guys pointing out the window.
Okay.
Pass me over here.
Okay.
That's not Bristol. You race.
You race. All right, good.
I was getting ready to say, boy, we're in Bristol. What are you talking about? There's going to be some people getting mad.
All right.
No.
Better racing, cooler tempers. All right, Jeff, for you, Greg Biffle, great turnaround. Second in points, best since 2005 for him. He's quietly up near the top.
They finally got everybody refocused on that 16 car. They got a crew chief in there that he likes working with. I think everything on a whole for this 16 car is looking very positive, plus the fact I think the Cat in the Hat, Roush Fenway Racing are starting to figure out this new car.
All right, real quick, Kevin Harvick, third in points, told me he's off to his best start so far, but is he championship material?
Yeah, he is. I like Harv. I like what he's doing. I like him in the trucks. I like him in the Nationwide. And I love him driving Childress. He's 29. Watch this kid. He's going to be up there this year.
All right, off to a great start. And both of you will start real quick. Your favorite Dale Jarrett memory?
Oh, it's real easy. I love it when they did the commercials. I thought that the commercials that he did as far as driving the truck, they were just humorous, and I liked seeing them.
Yeah, well, I like the Dale and Dale show. I loved it when his dad was calling him home to that Daytona 500. That first victory, that was exciting, and it was fun to listen to.
Yeah, some will remember the Shane Meal, the helmet thing, but that's
that's not one of his best.
That's Bristol, isn't it?
It's the Dale and Dale show as we come off of turn 4. Come on, Dale. Go, baby, go. He's going to make it. Dale Jarrett's going to win the Daytona 500. Oh, can you believe it? Way to go.
Hey. Man. Darrell, we're gonna talk about
where are you going?
Well,
Come on, Darrell.
we have a couple of minutes. He's got a little bit of a surprise.
Really important here.
Because of
all
the time you won here, 12 races.
Hey, surprise, buddy. Do you feel the dude?
Man.
Ralph Santana and the folks at Mountain Dew have got you a present here, buddy. Our 1981 Buick, you won all those racing whiskeys undefeated, and it's yours.
Oh, no.
It is yours, man. There it is. Huh?
Oh, no.
Can you believe it?
Oh,
how many times have we been to victory lane with this car?
I don't know.
Huh?
You want to get in? Go ahead. He's going to hop in. Don't hurt yourself, Darrell. Did you get it all right?
There he is.
There was a span of, 3.5 years nobody won at Bristol?
This car is undefeated.
Really? And it'll say
the king is back, man. The king is back.
Mountain Dew has given you this car to keep forever.
Oh, man.
That nice?
Thanks so much. It's only, I have all my other cars. I didn't have this one. Thank you so much.
What do you remember, Darrell, about this car and the success it had at Bristol?
Just how many races we won with it. 4 races in a row in this car, 2 in the Pepsi car. It was just a great car for us. I'm so thankful. Thank you for the car.
It's got your name up here.
And it's our car too. It's not a fake.
No, this is our real car. It's our car.
It's one of the real.
While you're enjoying this, Darrell. Darrell didn't know it. We're going to show some highlights for the people at home of some of the success, the 12 wins.
Oh, man.
Mentioned the grandstand here.
I saw this thing this morning, and I just about wanted to cry.
I'm telling you, I feel the same way.
Did you have any inkling that they were going to, because that was part of what Mountain Dew and the folks wanted to make sure you were surprised by this as they presented it as a gift?
I thought Junior had all these cars.
Really?
I mean, I didn't even know there was one in existence.
Well, you better call and thank him.
Does he know it's missing?
I've thanked him a lot in my career. Trust me.
Well, right now, like I say, I think Ralph here wants to shake your hand, too.
Thanks, Ralph. Oh, man. Thank you so much. This means a lot.
So, Darrell, if you had a chance to spin it around, you think you could still turn...
Whoa, don't be cranking that thing up.
I don't know if it's got the spoiler, the splitter, whatever, all the new stuff we got, but it looks brand new.
It's the only difference. You wear your hat backwards now.
All right, Darrell, we're going to let you, you'll have to we're going to pry you out of this. You got to head up to the play-by-play booth to call the race, but this car is yours, courtesy of Mountain Dew and all the NASCAR fans and the folks at Bristol.
Thank you so much.
And we will continue NASCAR on Fox. We're going to get you ready for the start of the race, the Food City 500 here in just a moment. Back live here at Bristol Motor Speedway, NASCAR on Fox, and that is the Buick. Here is the surprise. Darrell Waltrip, who won, as we said, 12 races, didn't know that this car was going to be given to him as a gift, but a bit of a surprise. He used to hop in and out of that thing a little bit earlier in the day, but look at that. It looks like you guys teaming up like you're in victory lane here.
Oh, I'm telling you, Chris. I mean, I saw that car this morning, and it wanted to bring tears back to my eyes because, again, we've had so much fun, and we dominated. That car sat on the pole 3 times here. The worst it ever start was 8. Again, undefeated. I mean, it's not too many times you get a chance to look at a car like that went on to not only never lose a race here, but won 2 championships back-to-back.
Left an impression on guys. You know, Dale Earnhardt Jr. has a new paint scheme in today's race. The 88 car, the National Guard.
They're also going to have a new one. It's going to look a lot like the old Mountain Dew car.
Mountain Dew? Okay.
Again, just like we looked at a minute ago. They're going to run a kind of like a
Darlington is when he'll unveil this. We got the early model.
Right there. So.
And there is today's paint scheme with the National Guard mixed in with, of course, Mountain Dew. I want to talk and amp energy. Of course, we're amped up about the race today. Talking about guys who've had success here, we mentioned Kurt Busch. Jeff Gordon, who is a 5-time winner here up front, with Jimmy Johnson, has had 2 DNFs so far this year, but actually is not unhappy with the way that he's run. How's that?
No, well, they've been competitive, and that's the key thing right now. And talking to Steve Letarte and all these guys, they've been pretty happy with the fact that they can be competitive. And with Jeff Gordon starting up front, well, you better watch out. He might have something for us.
A crowd of more than 160,000 gathered here at Bristol Motor Speedway. This place sells out faster than a Larry the Cable Guy concert. 52nd consecutive straight sellout at the track. Let's head down for opening ceremonies.
Ladies and gentlemen, would you please rise for the presentation of colors by the Air Force Combat Climatology Center in Asheville, North Carolina. And please remain standing and remove your hats for today's invocation by the Reverend Mike Rife of the Van Sant Church of Christ in Van Sant, Virginia.
Dear God, we thank you for Bristol Motor Speedway, and we thank you for Food City. And we're grateful that they can come together and work together and bring to this area an event such as this. We ask that you continue to bless and use Bristol Motor Speedway, Food City, and all of their associates. We also ask for your guidance and protection in all the events this afternoon. In Jesus' name, amen.
Please remain standing for today's national anthem by country artist Danielle Pack.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
This is always one of the best races of the season if you only catch one. Circle Bristol on your calendar. Which driver will end up in victory lane? We're going to go racing in a moment. The drivers cover a variety of topics. Right on target when it comes to Bristol. We asked them about short track, short tempers. What's the worst temper tantrum you've ever seen out on the track?
I got wrecked during the All-Star race by Ryan Newman, and I took my helmet and I threw it and I tried to hit him in the front fender, and he swerved and I hit him in the door, and I think it actually made his car go faster and he won.
Kyle Busch was pretty good at Charlotte, throwing his horns.
Okay.
And then kind of pulling back. The officials were trying to pull him back and he's throwing his horns. So.
Well, obviously the most famous one's got to be the Hans throwing device at Lowe's Motor Speedway. So, go Busch.
Okay.
Let's try just Kel and Bobby and Donnie in '79.
There you go.
That was good. That was good. The last great fight. Let's just call it that.
You know, Kevin and Juan Montoya going at it was pretty funny.
But they're not bad as long as nobody gets hurt, right?
Well, they all look the same. They all look ridiculous.
We've asked others, and somehow your name came up. But worst temper tantrum you've ever seen on or near a track?
Heck, I might have been a part of a few of those.
Yes, I think so.
I think, you know, the best temper tantrum that I've thrown was probably jumping over the car and grabbing Biffle by the throat. So that was probably the worst one that I've ever been a part of.
And we get you ready for the race today. What's the buzzword in the garage, Jeff Hammond?
It's got to be hot, Chris. When you think about these hot-headed hot dogs and their hot rods, I mean, you never know. They may wind up in hot water, but for this guy right here, it may be his last ride. I can promise you right now, he won't be afraid to get up and mix it up with him today.
A sense of relief going into broadcasting, more so full-time. He's been a great champion, so a long shot today, although a sentimental favorite. Give us, you know, Kurt, Kyle Busch would be choices. Give me a favorite and then maybe a wild card today.
You got to go with Dale Earnhardt Jr. right now. He's running so well, but at the same time, a long shot, I'm going to go with David Rudiman, up the top of the charts in the last two practice sessions, so you got to think, well, maybe he might get lucky today.
And Rudiman replaces Dale Jarrett in the 44. Rookie Michael McDowell will replace Rudiman in the 00 car as we take you down to the track, getting ready to go 500 laps in the fifth Sprint Cup race of the season.
Ladies and gentlemen, for the words we've all been waiting for, Food City 500 Grand Marshal, John Compton of PepsiCo.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
22-year-old Kyle Busch win back-to-back. Will Greg Biffle get into victory lane? Will it be Jimmy Johnson or Jeff Gordon for Hendricks? Stick around. We'll find out. NASCAR on Fox.
Here are the onboard views we'll bring you today on NASCAR on Fox. Hi, everybody. Mike Joy, Darrell Waltrip, Larry McReynolds with you as we get ready to race in a track that, as he flew over it and saw it for the first time, Dario Franchitti called the Roman Coliseum of NASCAR. It's an apt description, and look at the 160,000 plus fans that are here to see this race unfold this afternoon. Three cars at the ready. The pace car leads them off pit road with last year's champion Jimmy Johnson on the pole with Jeff Gordon. The field set by last year's points for the top 35, then winning drivers and champions, and then this year's point standings to fill out the 43 positions. Here's a look at your starting lineup. One very special driver in this field, and one of his former crew chiefs, Larry McReynolds, set to have a word with him.
Hey, Dale Jarrett, this is Larry McReynolds in the Fox booth. You got a copy, buddy? Dale Jarrett, Larry McReynolds. You got a copy on me, buddy?
We'll try and check back with Dale. We'll go to the B channel.
Maybe he's like me. Maybe he lost his voice.
It's possible. 668th career start for Dale Jarrett. Earlier, in a convertible, Corvette convertible, his dad, Ned, two-time champion, drove Dale around for a wave at the fans. It's a very emotional day, as it is every time we come to Bristol. Hi, everybody, and welcome high atop this great world's fastest half-mile speedway with its compound banking and the COT making its third appearance. We got a lot of storylines today, but the Jarrett family is pretty special to all of us, and I'm getting choked up here, Darrell, and you're out of voice, so Larry, it's a big day.
Well, it is, but this is our first short track race of the season. I think all these guys, they've had old Bristol circled on their calendar. We have some unknowns. We had a heavy rain go through here last night. The racetrack is what we call green. There's no rubber, and I think we're going to have a lot of guys that are going to be out of control when they drop this green flag, and I think it's going to be interesting to watch the comers and goers. You've got Ryan Newman, who had a fast race car. He'll be at the rear of the field because of an engine change. And how about Sam Hornish making his first start here? He's up there on row 4. It's going to be big for him when they drop this green flag.
Well, I went through what Dale's going through 8 years ago, and I rode around with tears in my eyes the whole time. I'm sure he will too.
Ready to race in Bristol, Tennessee. We'll mention Dale Jarrett will compete in the Sprint All-Star race in May, but this is his final Sprint Cup points race. Make it a great day with the perfect balance of flavor and refreshment. Just turn left and enjoy Budweiser, the great American lager. Keys to the race today, Larry.
Big enough to hold all the keys, but we'll hit you on the what we think is the biggest three. You know what? We always talk about the spotter at Daytona and Talladega, but here they're going around this racetrack in 16 seconds. Your spotter has to be on their game for you. Keep the car good on exit. Where you beat people at Bristol is from the middle of the corner off. You don't beat them getting in the corner. You make that thing rotate, stay in the throttle off the corner, you'll win the battle to the next corner. And you know what? One simple word, all capital letters, 500 laps, 3.5 hours, just plain old survival. Stay around, be on the lead lap, and see who's left.
This track has been compared to flying jet fighters in a gymnasium. It's also been described as when you run 500 laps here, it's like riding 500 laps in a clothes dryer, and by the time you're done, somebody's lost a sock or two. It's a very unique speedway, and we are set to go for 500 laps. Ned Jarrett atop the flag stand, two-time champion and a great inspiration and father figure to many of us in this sport. Son Glenn, son Dale, daughter Patty, all involved in racing, and Dale to take his final laps in points competition today.
I'll do it for DW.
Boogity, 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 boys. Let's go racing.
Let's go racing, boys.
Johnson leads the first lap. Does he have a deal with his teammate to lead lap 2? Doesn't look like it. Here comes Kenseth on the outside.
Hard to make a deal here. You make a deal to let somebody else lead a lap, you'll go from first to about 20.
Matt Kenseth wasting no time trying to establish the outside groove.
And I think one reason we need to see some patience here is because the racetrack is green like we were talking about, NASCAR will throw a competition caution at lap 50. So the goal, stay on the lead lap until lap 50. Then you can make that car better.
Tony Stewart climbed the hill and lost a couple of spots. He drops from 5th to 7th, trying to make an outside pass. There's Stewart up the hill again, not by choice. The car won't hold the bottom, and Kevin Harvick in the 29 gets by.
And his teammate Denny Hamlin was trying to cut him some slack and let him in, but he wouldn't get in. Looks like this 20 car definitely in trouble.
Larry, is it a matter of tires coming up to heat and pressure, or could he have one going soft?
Well,
Be all right here, guys. Just got to let it get rubbered up.
There you go.
There you go. They start the air pressure down quite a bit because they know how much air pressure it's going to build up over a long run. Plus, the racetrack it does not have any grip. You heard Tony tell Greg Zippodelli, be patient. Let's let some rubber get down on this track.
Battle for third. Biffle, or rather Kenseth, still on the outside, battling Clint Boyer. And Jeff Hammond, Matt's making that outside groove work right from the get-go.
Yeah, Mike, the thing I've been watching so far, and it's been very impressive, is that outside groove, I think, is kind of like that forgiveness groove that we haven't had here in recent years. You can go up there, make passes, hold that line. You can basically run around here too wide. So, again, if these guys can hang on for 50 laps and make those adjustments that then we know everybody will do, plus the racetrack's going to be coming to them, you know, this could wind up being one of the best races ever here at Bristol.
Well, Jeff, I know someone that's going to be looking for lap 50. We talked about him at the top of the show, Ryan Newman in the 12 car. He was slated to start 13th. They changed engines. Already here before lap 10, he's almost 3/4 of a lap down to the leader, Jimmy Johnson.
And the bad thing about it, Larry, when you get back there and you've got a fast race car, that's when the crew chief and the spotter have got to get a hold of that driver so he doesn't wind up tearing that race car up trying to get to the front.
Clint Boyer, who won yesterday's rain-shortened Nationwide Series race, has passed Jeff Gordon for second and set sail after Jimmy Johnson. And we saw some 3-wide racing in the back of the pack as this race now strings out to become the world's fastest conveyor belt of cars. From the air, you see the leaders not too far away from catching the tail end of this pack.
Talked about Ryan Newman. He's put a little cushion in between him and leader Jimmy Johnson. He got by Jeremy Mayfield, Mike Skinner in the 84, and Dave Blaney in the 22. But now the leaders are in the same corner as that group.
That car just hit the wall. A struggle to stay on the lead lap here in the early going. And that lead battle is heating up. Here is Boyer underneath Johnson. No fight, no contest. Let him go.
Well, the thing about it, Jimmy Johnson's a smart guy. He knows if he fights Clint Boyer, that will bring Jeff Gordon in the 24 and that other group right up to him. You don't want to push the issue this early in the race.
Casey Mears had a look in underneath Matt Kenseth. Mears in the 5. He was good in practice. 3 Hendrick Chevys in the top 5. No Chevrolet has yet gone to victory lane this year.
And does Casey Mears, does he ever need a good run? He's one of those guys that they talked about in the pre-race that's in the danger zone of falling out of the top 35 in owner points, and he wants that position for Matt Kenseth in the 17.
And Tony Stewart drew a bead on Kevin Harvick, couldn't make the pass. Things stacking up off turn 2. Jeff Burton had to roll out of the throttle to keep from getting into Mears. And Burton's got a mirror full of his teammate, Harvick. Then it's Hamlin, who was fastest in the first practice, and his teammate, Tony Stewart. Laps complete here at Bristol Motor Speedway. You're watching NASCAR on Fox. Clint Boyer, the new leader. Our aerial coverage is brought to you by DirecTV. NASCAR Hot Pass only on DirecTV puts you behind the wheel.
There's the conveyor belt. Conveyor belt of race cars.
And look at that, not an empty seat in the house. Another sellout at Bristol Motor Speedway. And Boyer's picking up right where he left off yesterday.
Yeah, he had a great car yesterday, but the problem now, he's getting stacked up behind guys that are trying to stay on the lead lap, and he's doing that. Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon, and this group right here, Tony Stewart just went by. Casey Mears in the 5, Tony Stewart in the 20. This will bring them right back up to the rear bumper of Clint Boyer.
And boys, hold on. Pressures are coming up. I'll be with you here shortly.
Okay.
You're coming to us, and Stewart's moving to the front.
Yep. I don't want to peak too early.
Jimmy Johnson led the first. We'll double check. That's not correct. We'll double check that. Johnson led the first part of the race and gave way to Clint Boyer. But we've now run 32 laps. And look at that computer updated. As Clint Boyer is riding a rocket here. He's running this track at 16.8. Here's a look at Dale Jarrett, who is still on the lead lap.
Yeah, Dale is right now, he went a lap down just about a lap ago to Clint Boyer. Here's the other two Richard Childress teammates, Kevin Harvick in the 29, Jeff Burton in the 31. Those guys battling for 7th. No longer a battle between those guys. We didn't have a lot of happy people in the practices yesterday, but actually both those two Childress cars there, Harvick in the 29, Burton in the 31, were pretty pleased with their race cars.
Now, Kyle Petty was very strong in practice, but again, Larry, I think he's a victim of starting in the back. There's just no way to gain enough ground to stay out in front of the leaders when you're back there.
Yeah, that, and plus that's the kind of race Kyle runs here. Real conservative early on.
Okay.
Take care of the car, he'll come back.
But you're right, Mike. Starting at the back yesterday, watching the practice session, in the first practice, all 43 cars were out there. I think 2.5 to 3 tenths separated the entire field. Almost everyone was running the same speed.
Ooh. Kyle Busch just got in the back of Kyle Petty, and both cars able to continue, but there was some pretty heavy contact there.
But while we're talking about Kyle Busch, now remember the field was set by the owner points from 2007. Let's take a look at this. Going down into turn 1, he runs up on the back of Kyle Petty, just squeezes up in front of Sam Hornish in the 77. But Kyle Busch started back in the 22nd position. Right now he's in 12th, now looking at the top 10.
39 caution-free laps complete in Thunder Valley. Clint Boyer leading in Sprint Cup Racing presented by AutoZone. Moving cars at will. He just moved past Travis Kvapil and Dale Jarrett. Next time by should be the 50-lap caution. Here comes Jarrett trying to get himself into the free pass position. Can't do it. And we expect that competition yellow. There it flies.
Coming to the caution.
So it looks like Travis Kvapil will get the free pass in the Yates Racing Ford, number 28.
You know, it's the car that won here last year.
Yeah, it was Carl Edwards' car that won here last fall.
Right.
Was sold to Yates Racing. Biggest mover in this race. Is anybody surprised? Kyle Busch has come from 22nd to 11th.
Now we have a very unique pit road here. We have 2 pit roads, one on the back stretch and one on the front stretch. Everyone will enter right here, and pit road pretty much goes around the apron and all the way down the front stretch. It's pretty much to put everyone on equal ground as far as their pit box. So everyone will enter coming into turn 2, and we expect that pretty much everybody will beat a pit road for 4 tires and probably a lot of adjustments.
NASCAR called for this competition caution due to the rains that just pelted the speedway last night, washed all the rubber from the racetrack that we had from the Nationwide Series race.
And you can see all that rubber right there. That's 50 laps of racing, and that's already got that built up.
We used to call it marbles. Now we call it what? Shred that gets up there? That's just what it looks like.
But Darrell, you and Jeff talked about it in the pre-race. Tire wear was definitely concerned. That'll give them a pretty good gauge there because it will only get better once the rubber gets down on the track.
Well, you heard Stewart say, let it rubber up, then we'll be okay.
Clint Boyer has led 39 of the 52 laps as pit road opens. Here's Kristen.
Under caution, they all come in off of turn 2, and Clint Boyer has the very first pit stall. Gil Martin said, Clint, how's your car? He said one word, good. No changes planned for the 07. Dick Berggren.
Jeff Gordon started in the 2nd position. He has lost 5 spots. The car was tight from the beginning. It has gotten no better as the race has unfolded. They're going to try to adjust, loosen the car up for him at least a little bit. He is one of the favorites to win the race today. Steve Burns.
Matt catches in the 17, hits pit road. Dick, he said his car was terribly loose at the beginning of the race. It's gotten a little bit tighter. He needs more grip in the front. They're going to drop the track bar, Matt.
Johnson and Stewart pitting on the front stretch. Significant change for Johnson. His car was free on exit. Stewart says his car wasn't bad. He just didn't want to make a big adjustment that might hurt him at the beginning of the run. Boy, that was a close battle off pit road. They're pretty much going to leave pit road about like how they came in.
So the first caution of the day is a NASCAR competition yellow for everyone to check tire wear. And Clint Boyer is still our leader. Clear indoors and out. 37 lead lap cars as we get set for this restart. Clint Boyer brings them down. Jimmy Johnson, Tony Stewart, Kevin Harvick, Casey Mears, Jeff Burton, Jeff Gordon.
Yeah, right now we've got 37 cars on the lead lap after Travis Quapple got the free pass. The reason Matt Kenseth in the 17 fell all the way back to the 15th position during those pit stops, Cameron Cobb, the Jackman, had a problem with the Jack.
And a commitment line violation for Ken Schrader on his stop, so he had to make a second stop and is now last car on the lead lap.
Jeff Gordon in the 24 car back
Trouble,
in the 7th
turn
position.
4.
Robbie Gordon, we have caution on the speedway.
Didn't hit anything.
Fun, guys. He's fun. Try to get going. Try to get going.
That'll be good news for Joe Nemechek in the 78 car. He'll get the free pass.
All right, be careful.
Robbie can't get the car started. Flooded.
No, he didn't hit nothing. He didn't hit nothing.
Now he's going.
Caution you see coming down onto the flat broke the struts that hold that splitter up off the ground. We saw him spin. We didn't see why. That's why we have Fox 3D, which gives us a virtual GPS guided view of what happened, and there's contact from Kenny Schrader.
But it looked like Robbie just turned down right on Kenny Schrader. I mean, Kenny was all the way at the bottom of the racetrack.
And there's a look at it in progress.
And I think when he maybe broke those struts was probably right there when he came down off the banking onto the apron, and it shoved the splitter up and broke those strut rods.
But that's what happens here. The guy that's on the outside, you think that the guy on the inside is going to give you some room, and he doesn't do it. Takes away your line.
And that's what I talked about at the top of the show. One of our keys, your spotter can be your best friend here.
As we get ready to race once again in Bristol, 65 laps complete.
And I would be pretty concerned if my car was tight and not turning now, because we know when this thing gets rubbered down, and we're not going to go this time, when this racetrack gets rubber on it, we saw it yesterday in the Nationwide Series race. We also saw it in practice yesterday, Dick Berggren. They get tighter as you go into a run, Dick.
Well, Kurt Busch's car is definitely tight right in the middle of a corner. He is a 5-time winner here and one of the pre-race favorites. But he had to start deep in the field, 36, because of that point swap that was done early in the year. And right now, Busch has worked his way up to 24th from 36. They've adjusted the car to try to make him faster.
Kurt and Kyle, the Busch brothers, with Ryan Newman, who changed engines and started in the back, the biggest movers of this race so far.
See Paul Menard there in that 15 car. We actually watched him yesterday in practice. He looked awfully good.
They waved off the restart due to some debris on the back straightaway that they're going to clean up. There's a look at Paul and Eric Almirola right behind him, 16th and 17th place. Here are some of your Chevy drivers to watch. Chevrolet trying to break into victory lane for the first time in 2008.
Kurt had told me that he has to drive this track really different than what he used to since they've redone it.
Yeah, after the race a year ago, in fact, Darrell was part of the demolition crew. They dug all the concrete up and put a complete new surface before we came back in August.
And it's really, really smooth. I mean, it's so smooth.
We're on one to go. Let's give an attaboy to Joe Nemechek's crew, because on the competition yellow, they got him out first of the cars one lap down. That put him in position to get the free pass, which he did. Nemechek is back on the lead lap. Here's our Claret & Clear to drive restart. Get Claret & Clear, get back to feeling like yourself again. Green flag.
like we're going to work on getting old DW cranked up before the end of this 500 laps. So while we're working on him, what do you think?
Crank it up. Three laps go on the board. Clint Boyer again running away from Jimmy Johnson, Tony Stewart, Kevin Harvick. Dale Jarrett right now in the free pass position, one down. But here is the danger zone right here. This all stacks up from here on back.
Yeah, I was going to say the danger zone is from here all the way to the back of the field right now.
Jeff Burton with a crossover move on Casey Mears. He tried the top. That didn't work. Now Burton goes to the bottom. He gets the spot.
Yeah, this has been a battle for fifth, and it's been going ever since the restart.
Second place, Tony Stewart takes it from Jimmy Johnson. As you watch Greg Biffle, Kyle Busch try to bust their way up through smoke to second.
I just believe on the long run, the one car that Clint Boyer will have to contend with is that 20 car of Tony Stewart.
All three of Richard Childress's cars now in the top 5. And 5 of the top 6 are Chevys. Stewart's Toyota, the only other make represented in the top dozen.
And it looks like Boyer's just picking up where he left off yesterday.
Cruise control right now, Darrell. 16 flat, his last lap.
Yeah, what we saw in practice yesterday is on into a run. If you could run 16 O's and 16 teens, you were actually pretty good. Now here's Denny Hamlin challenging Casey Mears in the 5 car. Denny in the 11. This is a battle for 6. When you look at Denny Hamlin in the 11, we've talked about Tony Stewart in the 20. 1 year ago, the two of those cars dominated this race. Denny Hamlin had a fuel pickup problems. Tony Stewart had a fuel cable problem. Kyle Busch won the race driving for Hendrick.
Speaking of Kyle Busch, he just moved past Greg Biffle, moving up into 8th place. As Harvick draws a bead on Johnson, this will be for 3rd.
This has not been one of Jimmy Johnson's better racetrack. I know Chad Canals was really pleased the other night. They would have liked an opportunity to qualify, but he said, you know what, we will not turn down this #1 starting spot, which gives you the #1 pit selection.
Last year, Johnson won 4 of the 6 short track races on the circuit. The 2 he did not win, the 2 at Bristol. Matt?
Mike, if you look at Jimmy Johnson's past 5 races here, you'll understand why he felt like he already hit the lottery. Started P1 due to starting by a point, has one of the best pit stalls on pit road, and then he told crew chief Chad Canals, the car just feels so fast. It is working so well, so early, which was music to Canals' ears, because this has been one of those places where they have struggled in the past. Right now, he's just riding in form.
Thanks, Matt. Kyle Busch has climbed to 7th. Biffle up to 8th. And here's a look at Juan Pablo Montoya in the top dozen where he's been all race.
You know, I've been watching him, and he's one of the guys that really wanted an opportunity to qualify on Friday. Because of the point situation, he started in 21st. He's by far the top running Dodge right now. He's moved up to 12th. I talked to Juan this morning. He said, I'm telling you, if I can stay out of trouble, I've got a good race car for today. There's Matt Kenseth in the 17 car. We talked about him having that problem with the jack on the last pit stop, working his way back in the top 15.
And here is what the leader dreads at Bristol. There is traffic from here to Johnson City. As far as Clint Boyer is concerned, there is nothing but traffic ahead. And a lot of these drivers are really going to struggle and do anything they can here to try and stay on this lead lap.
Yeah, and even though our top 6, that they are strung out right now, Darrell just pointed out to me, this has slowed Clint Boyer down 3 to 4 tenths by catching the back of the field.
Krista.
Mike, you are so spot on. When I talked to Gil Martin, Clint Boyer's crew chief this morning, I said, Gil, you guys have such a good car. What is your biggest concern? Without hesitation, he said, lap traffic. We know we're going to be up front. That is going to be our biggest dilemma all day long, and that's 500 laps of lap traffic.
Krista, it's not so much getting by the traffic. It's watching Big Orange loom in your mirror, because all this traffic has allowed Tony Stewart to close right up on Boyer, who now has Travis Kvapil between himself and Tony Stewart. Next week, we're off for Easter. Enjoy Easter and be with us 2 weeks from today at Martinsville, Virginia, the paperclip-shaped half-mile with its unique hot dogs and its unique brand of racing.
We just pick right up where we leave off here later on this afternoon, right on to another short track.
Yeah, just start with your tempers and fenders intact. Everything will be all right.
Now this right here is a battle for 16th between Carl Edwards in the 99, Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 88. Carl will take the position away from Dale Earnhardt Jr. Coming in here, we talked about Chevrolet being shut out. Who would have ever believed 4 races into this season that Hendrick Motorsports would only have 1 driver in the top 12 in points? It's the guy we're riding with, Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Stewart has caught him as they work around David Gilliland and begin to pull up on Kyle Petty. Jeff, if you're in that pack, if your driver's in that pack ahead of Clint Boyer, from J.J. Yaley back to Michael Waltrip, what are you telling him other than hope for this caution to try to help him stay on the lead lap?
This is exactly what happened right there. We got a debris caution right now on the racetrack. That's the way to hustle up there and keep us on the lead lap, driver. Good job.
I tell you, that caution was very timely for Jamie McMurray in the 26 car. He was just about to go a lap down to Clint Boyer, but I think our leader in about another half a lap wasn't going to be Clint Boyer. Tony Stewart was just about, I think, to get by him.
David Gilliland was the last car lapped by Boyer before the caution, so Gilliland has the free pass. Only 2 drivers finished in the top 10 at this racetrack in both the spring and fall race last year. Kyle Busch was one. Our leader, Clint Boyer, was the other.
Good racetrack for him. Now, I think, you know, we've run about close to another 50 laps here, about 45 laps. I think we'll see these guys take advantage of this caution. Pit road will be open, so we'll know here shortly. But remember, everyone enters pit road over off of turn 2 the way this pit road is structured. 30 miles per hour pit road speed.
And Krista's right at the pit road entrance there in turn 2, right where Clint Boyer will come to a stop. Krista.
And that is exactly what he is doing. He's bringing his Jack Daniels Chevrolet to a stop, and they are so good right now. No adjustments. Again, for the second time today, it's just 4 tires and fuel for the 07. Dick.
Jeff Burton pits out of the 5th position. He has picked up 3 spots since the drop of the green flag. Burton surely should be somebody to be watching this afternoon. He has finished 2nd twice in his last 5 starts here. He has already won in nationwide racing here at Bristol, and a nice pit stop. Steve Burns.
Kyle Busch is getting better in that 18, Dick. He says his car is just a little bit tight in the center and just a little bit loose on exit. They've made an air pressure adjustment to the rear tires of that 18. Mac.
His teammate Tony Stewart says his car rolling through the center very well. Didn't really want to make much of an adjustment, maybe slight air pressure. Kevin Harvick said his car, which is way too tight in the center, really good on exit. Small air pressure adjustment for Harvick.
Now, Clint Boyer lost a lot of ground, but it wasn't because of the pit stop. He got jammed up behind the guys that were just still trying to get in their pit box. As you see right there, he's going to lose 4 positions. The real winner, that 20 car, they get their man out first.
Right, he had a very good stop, but the back of the pack working its way around at the tail end of the caution line held Boyer back. It's a long way around pit road here. Let's go downstairs. Chris?
All right, Mike, quick AT&T race break with Jeff Hammond from the Hollywood Hotel, and a look down below at Bristol Motor Speedway. How about Greg Biffle? Came in second at points, started 14th. A hot driver here. He's done well at this track. Never won, though, on a short track. Moving on up.
And he's definitely moving on up. His car looks like it's working really well around the bottom of the racetrack. And the key thing is, and Larry McReynolds talked about this early on, you're going to win this race by running from the center of the turn back to the start-finish line or back to the middle of the back straightaway. That's what I'm seeing in Tony Stewart's car, Greg Biffle's car, and our former leader, Clint Boyer. His car was working really well in that area, and that's where they're making a lot of ground right now.
And Clint Boyer leading for the first time in 4 races at this particular track. This has been an AT&T race break, and the top 4 car numbers picked by our viewers to win today's race. Here's a look at those. Watch our pre-race coverage every week to play along, and we hope you win. Let's rejoin Darrell, Larry, and Mike.
Thanks, Chris. Bobby Labonte had a tire violation on his pit stop in the outside half of the pit box, and so he will restart at the tail end of the longest line. He is on the lead lap. Brushed the wall in practice yesterday. And Casey Kane, too fast exiting. He'll give up 22nd position and drop back to 33rd on this restart.
You hear anything? Nobody told me anything.
And that puts those guys in that box because now they're going to be all the way at the back of the pack. Pretty much when Tony Stewart, well, actually Michael Waltrip's going to be leading the race here in the 55 car. When he takes the green flag,
too fast exiting, tail end of the longest line.
Those guys will be a half a lap down when they take the green flag.
Let's get an overlook on these pit stops from Jeff.
Now, y'all were talking about it, Mike, but the key thing right now with that 07 car, Clint Boyer, they had a good pit stop, but the 26 car, Jimmy McMurray, really held him up. And you talked about that, Mike, all the way around. But when you look at this racetrack, and Larry talked about the uniqueness of the way it's laid out, 2 pit roads, we've got so many good cars on the back straightaway and so many good cars on the front straightaway, and we got a lot of other guys that are basically a lap down in between them. And that could determine who winds up winning this race today if somebody holds up somebody out of pit road.
Jeff, you're right. He was pinned behind McMurray, but McMurray was pinned behind the 8 cars just in front of him, and nobody was going very fast. Here are our Toyota top performers. Michael Waltrip picks up the lead under this caution. Tony Stewart right behind him. Denny Hamlin, all the Gibbs cars in the top 10 as we get ready to restart for lap 100.
2 things that will work out for Michael Waltrip on this. He knows he's a sitting duck with those older tires, but he's going to be out front. He doesn't even have to battle the lap down cars. Remember, he's one of those guys in the danger zone Chris, Jeff, and Darrell talked about in the pre-race. That's 5 points for leading, which could be important headed into Martinsville.
Michael Waltrip leads under green. Here at Martinsville, Tony Stewart wants the lead. He's got the bottom.
And I don't think Michael should push the envelope here. He's on much older tires. You know what? Find you a place and just kind of get down in there. And sooner or later, these guys, their tires will start going away on them. I think for all the conditions for the 55 car, that was probably a pretty good call by Paul Andrews.
All they have to do, Larry, is hope that a caution comes out before they run out of fuel or tires.
Well, he got those 5 bonus points, and I think that's what's important when you're sitting there 33rd in owner points right now.
Jimmy Johnson up for 2nd. Kevin Harvick challenging for 3rd. And you see Clint Boyer, who's led most of this race, right behind Denny Hamlin and ahead of Kyle Busch. Busch to the outside. Here comes Busch on the outside.
I tell you what, I am so proud to see that this racetrack already at lap 105, we have that second groove that you can get up there and you can pass. And Michael is trapped up there, and these guys are trying to just freight train him right now. He's trying to hold his own because he knows right there that's a battle for 4th, but he could go from 4th to 12th in a lap if they freight train him.
It's good strategy, Larry, but right now, you're right. Michael's in a position where his lap times are not going to be as quick as the driver is on new tires, and his idea of holding his own right now is not holding them up, trying to find a safe place to run.
Well, he just don't want to get freight trained too far back because he knows he's on those much older tires than all of our lead lap cars. What Michael needs is this thing to go about 25 or 30 laps maybe and get another caution. Then it would be mission accomplished. If we have a long green run, just like Darrell was indicating to me, he's in trouble.
But I'm impressed with Michael's run, Larry, because they're not just all racing right by him and passing him two or three per corner. He's holding his own.
I think this tire will allow you to do that.
Okay. Jeff Burton getting past Michael for 7th. And Dave Blaney almost got together with Regan Smith last time by. Watch that yellow 22.
Dave just had to jump back out of the throttle for whatever reason, and it just stacked up behind him. Of course, Dave is a lap down back in the 42nd position. Regan Smith in the 01 still on the lead lap. Now we're riding with Casey Kane. Remember, he had to go to the back of the field because of a pit road speeding violation, and right now he has made his way up to 29th position, but he's 2/3 of a lap behind the leader.
Almirola in the number 8. Mark Martin returns to that car in Texas. Battling one Pablo Montoya. That's for 14th with Carl Edwards and Paul Menard, part of that mix.
Pretty impressed by that run by Eric Almirola. He has a start here back in August, but he got very little practice time. They lost an engine in practice, and he struggled in the race, but pretty impressed so far as he's up there in the top 15. Now we got a battle for 3rd between Denny Hamlin and 11. It's not going to be a battle that's going to last long. Hamlin will take that position away from Kevin Harvick. Matt Yoakum, is the Hamlin going away on the 29? Matt?
We'll get back to him, Larry. You hear Harvick pick up the throttle as Kyle Busch gets past Clint Boyer. And he's going to, thought he might bring Jeff Burton with him, but Burton drops into Boyer's tire tracks because this battle's not over.
Kyle Busch has found a groove up there in that 2nd lane. Now it looks like Boyer's going to prevail, but it just seems like Kyle, he has found something up there in that 2nd groove. Now Boyer and Burton continue to work the bottom.
Tony Stewart has now led 17 laps, and he's out in front of Jimmy Johnson by 1 second. You're watching NASCAR on Fox. Presented on Fox by AutoZone. Dave Blaney has spun at turn number 2. Some drivers chose to pit, but many of the leaders did not. Here's what happened to Blaney. Watch that second yellow car in the picture. Just came around, coming off the corner.
We saw that happen a lot in Friday's practice. Car just once you're back to the throttle, and I'm telling you, he was a sitting duck there. They were coming at him left and right, and this is what old Digger saw looking back down the back straightaway. Our gopher cam just loops it on the exit of turn 2.
Now, trying to avoid Blaney, look at the contact between Kyle Busch and Jeff Burton as the caution comes out.
And you can see the 18 lock up the left front tire. Trying to stay off of it.
In front of you. Stay down. Stay down. All clear. Caution's out.
That is Darrell. He's a bit under the weather, but he is with us. And
I'm sorry, folks.
That's okay. Hopefully.
Too much excitement.
We'll get you tuned up. We got 400 laps to do it.
They've got a long way to go. Now, this is where it gets interesting. It's been about 20 laps since that last restart as we get the 1 to go. We have 34 cars on the lead lap. We had about 19 of them that came to pit road. It worked out for Michael Waltrip. I was a little concerned. He was running 10th because all those other cars came in behind him. He's only lost 5 positions, so mission accomplished for Paul Andrews and Michael Waltrip. We had about the top 14 cars stayed out that caution.
Travis Quaffle gets the free pass, so we will restart with 34 cars on the lead lap. Tony Stewart, your leader. Jimmy Johnson. Denny Hamlin, Kevin Harvick, Clint Boyer, the top 5. 125 laps complete this time. Green flag.
I was really surprised that many cars pitted, but I think what they're banking on is that we'll run about 20 or 25 laps here. We'll get a caution, and those top 14 guys will be forced to come to pit road. They'll have the track position with fresh tires then.
This this is where the spotter earns his money, because he's got to keep track of who's got fresh tires and who doesn't to help his driver navigate through. Steve?
Mike Martin Truex Jr. in the one car says his car is a little snug, but he said on several occasions the front end is bouncing in the middle of the corners.
In this place, even though it was just resurfaced, and Darrell did the drive around yesterday, he talked about how bumpy this place is. It's almost like a concrete highway that's had a lot of time put on it. You get those pop, 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 pop. And when the air pressure builds up in the tires, which it will over a long run, that even magnifies the problem.
Riding with Jeff Gordon. That's Kyle Petty and Michael Waltrip just ahead. Dick Berggren.
Well, Jeff Gordon started in the second position, Mike. He did take the opportunity on that last caution flag to pit for 4 tires. He left the racetrack in the 14th position, returned to the racetrack in 16th. So not much of a penalty for picking up those 4. The car has not handled for Gordon from the beginning of the race. It's been tight all day.
Clint Boyer trying to work past Robbie Gordon. Little contact there. And Gordon's car has been loose all day. Usually he likes to drive it loose. But watching Robbie Gordon, this takes loose to a whole nother dimension today.
He has had his hands full again. He had that caution that he brought out back on lap 60. Right now, Robbie is 1 lap down back in the 36th position, trying to get up there and battle Dale Jarrett in the 44 to be the first car lap down. Should we get the caution, he'd be back on the lead lap.
Jeff Burton gives it a try inside of Robbie. Kyle Busch behind him, and then Brian Vickers and Greg Biffle and Dario Franchitti. Kevin Harvick running in 5th place and kind of in a little buffer zone. Matt pretty much by himself right now, and you don't often hear that at Bristol.
Racing with a lot of motivation is Kevin Harvick. Now, he's the guy that pays attention to detail. In fact, he likes to paint everything on the car yellow. Ty Barrier said, well, if that's the case, you score a top 10, we'll paint the side skirts yellow. That's what he did. They had another, paint the end plates yellow. He got another top 10. Then the roof rails. He said, we get a top 10 today, we're going to start painting the brackets on the back of the wing yellow. Harvick, though, says the car a little too tight at this juncture.
It sounds like we're going to hear that complaint from more and more guys. We've been talking about it since the drop of the green flag. Once this place starts getting some rubber on it, it's going to make these cars have less and less front grip.
Tony Stewart about 0.8 of a second up on Jimmy Johnson. Stewart's teammate Denny Hamlin riding 3rd, and those 3 cars are pretty much in a straightaway by themselves. We've got Dale Jarrett, a lapped car, before you get to Kevin Harvick, Clint Boyer, Jeff Burton, and Brian Vickers, who is a lap down. And moments ago, watch the 6, David Reagan. Well, David was on the bottom of the racetrack as David Rudiman in a 00 changed lanes on him.
This was right behind what went on there, riding with Casey Kane in the 9. You see him have to check up and jump on the brake pedal.
Well, there was a hole, and one came up, one came down.
But that's what happens here. You get 1 or 2 cars that get together, and you start having that chain reaction, just like we saw on that last caution between Kyle Busch and Jeff Burton. They just start stacking up. Jeff Gordon just moved by Eric Almirola in the 8 car. That moves Jeff Gordon in the 24 up to the 13th position. Looking now at the back of Michael Waltrip in the 55 car, who's in the 12th spot.
Now they're single file, Larry, but from them on back, from Carl Edwards on back, this field is kind of packed double wide. Have a look at them. Look at all the action toward the back half of the field, and that orange dot closing up on it.
I was going to say, that's the reason the action is picking up there. The spotter, the crew chief, is saying, leader, same straightaway. Leader, 4 seconds behind you.
Tony Stewart is about to catch a pack of traffic, and this could be exciting. 144 of 500 laps. To be chased by those girls in the Allstate commercial or by the number 20 car that's trying to put him a lap down.
We know you don't like to watch commercials, but you know what? It doesn't get any better than that driver's uniform that he's wearing. And we had Casey Kane on our trackside show Friday night. He told Darrell, Jeff, and Steve, that was me. I was doing all the dancing. I'm not a great dancer, but that was me.
That's great. Nice suit. Here comes Tony trying to put Kane a lap down, not because Casey's a slow car, but because he had that pit road penalty.
He doesn't have a great car, and when you're put in the box of at the back of the field, then obviously you see in just a few short laps that 20 car of Tony Stewart has caught him. Now what Casey's going to try to do if Tony gets by him is stay hooked to the rear bumper of that car and be the first car lap down, but I don't know if Tony's going to get by him with ease.
But Jeff, look at the traffic here. If Tony goes to the outside to pass Casey, there's Elliott Sadler. If he goes to the bottom, there's Kyle Petty. There's nowhere to run here, nowhere to hide, and nowhere to pass.
No, but Mike, right now is when you got to be patient. Tony Stewart, now he's got the bottom line, what he was looking for. He got underneath the 9 car right there, so he's got to run on Casey. If he can hold him, that's the key part. Now, that's where the spotter and the crew chief have got to be on the radio telling Smoke, got to be patient, buddy. Got to be patient. Work him good. Just be smooth, and let's don't tear the front fenders off of it. But again, when you're leader, everybody's trying to follow you, but everybody's in your way at the same time. So you've got to be patient and work your way through the traffic. It will open up if you'll just be smart.
Just ahead of Stewart, Elliott Sadler on the right, David Rudiman, Mike Skinner again, Jeremy Mayfield, and then Dale Earnhardt Jr.
I was going to say that the best friend that Dale Earnhardt Jr. has right now are these lap-down cars, plus David Rudiman. And David is still a lead lap car, had one of the fastest cars in practice, every one of our practice sessions, but started at the back, and here he's trying to stay on the lead lap here at lap 162.
The jam car in this bunch is the 70. Jeremy Mayfield is 2 down. And about to go 3, Rudiman trying to get past Mayfield, and they touch.
But while this is all going on, you see it there. There's the Lowe's car, the 48 car. It's bringing him right up to the rear of the 20 car, as well as Stewart's teammate, Denny Hamlin.
Tony just has to be so careful here to keep all 4 fenders on the car, hold on to the lead. And now he's got room because, wow, Sadler went way to the high side on Mayfield. And that gives Stewart room underneath the 70. He's going to clear Mayfield and then set off after Rudiman. And that gave David Rudiman a lot of breathing room, along with Dale Earnhardt Jr., Reed Sorensen, and Kurt Busch, which are the next cars up ahead.
But I tell you, we talked about Dale Earnhardt Jr., the 88 car. I've been watching him. He has moved that car all the way up to about 1 lane off the top of the racetrack. Look how he's diamonding the racetrack. You can see him. That's as high as anybody's running right now.
Krista?
Dale Earnhardt Jr. loves the high line every track he goes to. When I talked to his crew chief, Tony Uri Jr. this morning, he said Jr. wishes he could run up here. We talked about in our practice shows this weekend, there's so much rubber, the marbles that collect up there. You can't really run the high line, but like you just saw, Dale Earnhardt Jr. is pushing it as close as he can. He said on the last run he was a little free in and off, but better in the center of the turn.
Trouble for Dale Jarrett, starting his final Sprint Cup points race. Came down the backstretch a lap ago, felt a tire going down, and pitted. He had been running in the free pass position and doing a really good job of being the first car a lap down, but now he'll go several laps down.
Now this is a battle for second. Denny Hamlin in the 11 car, he had moved up about a lane off the bottom, but Jimmy Johnson in the 48 will use Travis Quapple as a pick and hold on to the second position. This battle is about a second and a half behind leader Tony Stewart. There you see the battle for second on the right and the battle to stay on the lead lap on the left.
David Rudiman not going down without a fight. He moves into the 44 at Martinsville. He'll be UPS's new driver, replacing Dale Jarrett. And he's not giving it up.
No, he's not. And then Michael McDowell will be going in the 00 car starting in Martinsville. But finally, Rudiman's going to have to give way to Tony Stewart. So right now, Rudiman would be the car to get the free pass should we get the caution.
Let's show you what Tony...
Stay away, get the lunch dog, nice and smooth.
Let's show you what Tony Stewart had to go through. Well, first, here's the battle between Jimmy Johnson and Denny Hamlin once again. Second place changes hands, and Jimmy just lets Hamlin get on by. Watch the 20 and the 26. As Jamie McMurray carried Stewart up the hill. Little contact there. And then with David Rudiman, little contact there.
When you're the leader at the Bristol racetrack, you've almost got a bullseye on you because these guys are all fighting for survival, trying to stay on the lead lap. They're going to race you much harder than they will anybody else.
175 laps at Bristol, Tennessee. Our aerial coverage from DirecTV, your ticket to the most sports in HD. Tony Stewart leads his teammate, Denny Hamlin, those Joe Gibbs Toyotas, 1 second apart. And then it's 4 Chevys. Jimmy Johnson, Kevin Harvick, Clint Boyer, Jeff Burton. Before Greg Biffle's Ford, Kyle Busch's Camry, Carl Edwards in a Ford, and Jeff Gordon's Chevy, the top 10. First Dodge in the race is 11th. Kenny Schrader having another great Bristol run.
This has always been a good track for Kenny Schrader in that 49 car. Of course, that's one of the cars that stayed out a while ago, and those guys that did stay out, they're approaching the 100 lap mark on their tires, but we're almost 200 laps into this race. We've got all 43 cars still out there on the racetrack.
Franchitti McMurray just about hung there up off turn 4.
And Kenny Schrader and Paul Menard and Ryan Newman, all those guys had nowhere to go. Paul Menard had worked his way up to the 13th position.
And Schrader was, what, 11th?
Damage on Bobby Labonte in the 43 car there.
Now that spin and crash happened in turn 2, but it started all the way back in turn 4.
Which is not unusual for Bristol.
Murray can't get going. His luck has just been horrible these last few weeks. Wrong place, wrong time. Now watch the 40 and the 26.
Franchitti in the 40 car walked up the racetrack, got into McMurray. And then Franchitti gets into McMurray, nowhere for Schrader to go, and then there they just start stacking him in. As he turned out on them, they just start stacking in behind him.
It looked like they had it all straightened out, and then somebody made a sharp left turn, and they got together again. Michael Waltrip on the Napa cam.
Right here in front of you, right here in front of you. Keep digging, no caution. Go low, go low, go low. Go higher, there you go. Keep going. Caution's out, caution's out.
Yeah, your other low.
But you know what? That was a great job by the spotter because you saw Bobby Labonte, the 43 car, just come barreling by him on the inside. Michael Waltrip, no marks on his car. Bobby Labonte's front end's completely tore off.
And this time we expect all the leaders will stop. As Denny Hamlin, Tony Stewart lead them onto pit road. Jimmy Johnson, Clint Boyer, Kevin Harvick. Here's Kristen.
Clint Boyer calling for his first adjustment of the day. He said his car is getting just a little bit tight in the center off on the turns. They're going to make a wedge adjustment, also an air pressure change for Clint Boyer. Dick.
Jeff Burton has been running in the top 10 all day long. He pits out of the 6th position for this pit stop. He wants the car to turn a little bit better in the corners than it is, so they're going to make a minor adjustment to accomplish that. Steve.
Dick, Kyle Busch, last week's winner, starting to get frustrated in that number 18 car. He says, give me all the steering you've got. I cannot turn this thing. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment and a track bar adjustment. Matt?
Denny Hamlin asking for the same thing he got last time. That's more air pressure adjustment and a chassis adjustment. Meanwhile, Tony Stewart trying to keep up with the racetrack. They were going to gun for a wedge adjustment.
Kyle Busch pitted out of the 9th position as we complete 193 laps. Tony Stewart first off pit road. 193 complete in the Food City 5 lap. 197. The Gibbs Toyota's first, second, and 9th. Denny Hamlin looking to lead this race and does. Gets back out in front of teammate Tony Stewart. Second time that Hamlin has led today. The way he got the lead from Stewart just prior to the caution was Tony slowed up as J.J. Yaley climbed the hill and got into the wall in front of him. And here's a look at it on the right of your screen.
I almost get a feeling that Tony Stewart's spotter talked to him about the wreck happening in turn 1 a little quicker than maybe Denny Hamlin's spotter did. Now, Stewart just lost a couple more positions to Jimmy Johnson in the 48, Clint Boyer in the 07.
Seems just like the start of the race, Larry, where the tires were not yet up to temperature and pressure. And Stewart rode out the first 10 laps and then went to work. Has been black flag. That's going to put a damper on a strong run by he and teammate Eric Almirola. Well, he's missing the whole right side quarter panel.
And I think there's definitely some things dangling off that car. Yeah, Paul went from a top 15 car to right now he's a lap down back in the 33rd spot. And they're going to continue throwing the black flag. You know, what they're hoping for is to get a caution. It's actually the back panel underneath the rear wing. They're hoping to get a caution, but it looks like he's going to have to come to pit road.
Quarter panel's gone.
Which, no problem. You can race here without that. But I think the concern was that back panel flapping was going to come loose.
Front 4 now have cleared the lap track pick of Bobby Labonte, who was involved in that caution flag, along with Menard. And there's the back panel off. Actually, they had removed the quarter panel, which was damaged in the crash when they pitted under caution. Jamie McMurray also involved, Dario Franchitti, Bobby Labonte, Kenny Schrader, and Ryan Newman. Only Schrader and Murray have taken their cars, McMurray have taken their cars behind the wall of those in the accident.
Clint Boyer in the 07 working on Jimmy Johnson for second. Of course, Clint Boyer led 39 laps earlier in this race. I think he'll eventually win this battle.
And something we haven't seen much of the last 2 days here, sunshine on this speedway.
And that definitely will make this track lose some grip. You know, we've not seen the sunshine since we got here on Thursday afternoon. But while these guys, they've been battling side by side for second, we're riding with Tony Stewart. It's pulled him right up to the rear bumper of Clint Boyer.
Now, Boyer got a great run off turn 2 despite being on the bottom groove, where it's not banked as much as it is in the higher groove, the higher grooves of the track.
You mentioned McMurray is behind the wall. They will be back out on the racetrack. They had to do some welding on the frame, and he was also complaining about his throttle sticking, but they will get that 26 car back out there.
Jeff, what does this change in the weather do for your sunny disposition and your plan to adjust on that car late in the race?
Well, the good thing about it is, Mike, it is a concrete racetrack, so the sun doesn't have quite the amount of effect it does on the asphalt track, but this place will still get breezy. As you see right there, Jimmy Johnson kind of slides up the racetrack. So right now, my big focus is still going to be give my car enough forward bite so when he goes right through the center of the turn, he can get back in that throttle and drive up off this turn. I mean, no matter what happens here at Bristol, you've always got to keep that in the back of your mind. Forward bite is so important. And guys, I want to point out one thing real quick. I looked on the scoreboard a minute ago. Dale Earnhardt Jr. running that high line, stayed on the lead lap. He's now up there running that 15th position. I think he's still working that high line.
Yeah, Jeff, we were noticing right before that caution that his lap times were pretty much mirroring the leaders. He definitely found something up there in the higher line.
Brian Newman has the same problem Paul Menard did. That tail light panel and rear bumper cover is flapping, so he'll have to stop and get that crash damage repaired. Martinsville in 2 weeks. NASCAR on Fox takes a weekend.
Bear by the tail, guys. Bear by the tail on the sides, left and right. And then crank 4 rounds in the left rear.
We'll take a week off for Easter and then be back with you 2 weeks from today at Martinsville, Virginia on the half mile.
Was a battle for a few seconds between teammates. That's a battle for fourth between Kevin Harvick in the 29 and Jeff Burton in the 31.
It's one of those climb the hill and do the drop down and under. The old bottom shot coming off the corner, which you've seen at short tracks throughout the country for years and years.
Pretty stout run today for Richard Childress Racing as we're closing in on the halfway mark there. You see all three of them up in the top 5 right now.
And a look at two of the Roush Fenway cars. Carl Edwards 99, Greg Biffle in the 16. They are 8th and 9th right now with 20 cars on the lead lap at 218 laps.
You know, going back to something Jeff Hammond was talking about, keeping the forward bite, of course, that's keeping the rear wheels hooked up upon acceleration. And just about the time Jeff reported on that, you heard him bring Ryan Newman to pit road to get that panel off. They told him to crank 4 rounds in the left rear. That's putting wedge in the car, and what you're doing there is you're really helping forward bite, getting off the corner. Remember our key? You get off the corner. And don't worry about getting in the corner.
Denny Hamlin's getting in and off the corner. He is 1.4 seconds ahead of Clint Boyer, Tony Stewart, and Kevin Harvick. You can ask Darrell, Larry, or Jeff 24/7 your questions about NASCAR and hear the answer at foxsports.com/askthepros.
Yeah, and I'll type you right back.
We're always on call. That's why he lost his voice.
How about thread the needle? That's what Tony Stewart just did. Trying to gain ground on teammate Denny Hamlin. He's about 1.8 seconds back. Kenny Schrader has returned to the racetrack. That leaves only Jamie McMurray in the garage, although Schrader ran a couple of laps and may have gone back there. Jeff?
Larry Mack.
Yes, sir.
You're going to sleep on me, buddy. That there was a car 4 laps down with a car 3 laps down, and I'm the crew chief on top of the box leading the race. Get them out of my way before I come unglued. This is Bristol. They're gaining on me. Get out of the way.
I have definitely come unglued before here at Bristol. Bristol brings the best out of all of us.
Jeff, you keep that up, you're going to lose your voice, too.
Well, hey, sometimes there's a place for it, Mike, and this is one of those times you got to be hollering and screaming because nobody is slowing down at Bristol. They're all chasing after you, and you need all the help you can get. So I'm up there telling my spotter to get them out of the way. I got the NASCAR officials, get them out of my way. And I got my driver saying, calm down. I'll get excited. You just be smart.
Reed Sorensen in the 41 car, who was a lead lap car, they just had to come to pit road to make an unexpected pit stop, so that's going to put him. You make a green flag stop here, you're going to go a couple laps down at least.
On board Dale Earnhardt Jr., who is running 14th, and we listened in.
Rolled way over, get in. Rolled way over. Hold the right front. Loose in, no forward bite. Full turn into center.
And that kind of goes back to what Jeff Hammond was talking about. Of course, he's got 3 problems. The car is falling over on the right front and loose getting in, which kills the whole corner. It won't turn in the middle when it gets down on the right front. Then when he picks the throttle up, it won't get off the corner. So a lot of adjustments needed on that 88.
Yeah. Which one do you want me to fix? Because I can't fix all of them.
First.
I can't fix all of them.
Eric Almirola having a great run here. He is in the top 15, Krista, and has been all day.
Well, Mike, we're used to seeing this U.S. Army Chevrolet run up front, but that's not Mark Martin, as you said. That is Eric Almirola. His first race of the year. He's only tested so far this year. I said, hey, has it been like spending the last 4 months on the sidelines? He said, painful. Tony Gibson, his crew chief, said he is providing fantastic feedback. I know Mark Martin is watching. Mark, your substitute driver, doing just fine.
I mean, this is only his 7th career start. So not only is it first start in 2008, it's only a 7th start total. And he doesn't have that many nationwide series starts. So a great job today.
Kyle Busch trying to become a factor here. He has climbed to 6th place. It has been a slow but steady progression for the number 18 to work his way toward the front, Steve. He's been as high as 5th. He's currently 6th and just keeps nibbling away.
Mike, remember when the caution came out last time, Kyle Busch said, I can't turn this thing. Give me all the steering I can get. Well, they made an adjustment, and Mike, you just said, I'm turning a lot better. In fact, now I'm on the verge of being too loose.
Kyle, the winner of last year's race here, his older brother Kurt in the Blue Deuce. just picked up a spot. He moved past Matt Kenseth into 10th place, Dick.
Yeah, he's really picked up the pace, Mike. He started all the way back in the 36th position. I lap 116. I heard him on the radio say that they were jump, just jump. But Pat Tryson, the crew chief, has made brilliant adjustments on that car. And a chassis adjustment to the track bar and some air pressure changes have woken that automobile up. And right now, Kurt Busch is as fast as anybody on the racetrack moving forward.
Remember, he started back in the 36th position, and now he's in the top 10. We got a battle between teammates here. No longer a battle. Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 88 will drive by Jeff Gordon. That was a battle for 12th. Definitely not the typical Jeff Gordon day.
No, he has 5 wins here, and he's led almost 2,500 laps at this racetrack, but has not led today.
That spot he just lost to Martin Truex Jr. to 1. Martin Truex Jr. is actually 1 lap down.
Denny Hamlin just lapped J.J. Yaley, the 18th place car. Hall of Fame racing, somewhat of a subset to Joe Gibbs Racing that Hamlin drives for. Let's check with Matt on the leader.
Mike, the top 2 cars, Hamlin and Stewart, both trying to score their first win on an oval since July of last year. Hamlin says it seems like the more he tries to hustle the car, the more it pushes it. Both drivers have said the track is taking more and more rubber and getting tighter and tighter.
It's just typical Bristol.
We have just passed halfway in the Food City 500. You're watching Sprint Cup Racing presented by AutoZone on Fox.
From one seat, I've burned up just about every track that's ever been raced.
The Daytona 500 youngest driver.
From one seat, I've won 4 championships. From one seat, I've earned a place among my heroes.
As Jeff Gordon salutes Dale Earnhardt.
And that seat has been in one car. Chevy, built to last, built to love.
Complete. Denny Hamlin still leading. During pre-race, Darrell Waltrip was surprised with a gift of the car in which he won 4 straight races here at Bristol Motor Speedway. That Junior Johnson number 11 Buick. And I think it took Darrell's voice away.
That was sweet.
That was number 11 then. Number 11 now belongs to Joe Gibbs Racing and driver Denny Hamlin. And we have a new second-place car, Kevin Harvick. 1 lap ago, took second from Tony Stewart, but Harvick is 2 laps behind the race leader. And Kyle Busch has moved up to 4th, continuing his steady march toward the front.
I believe they just keep making that 29 car better and better. I think this racetrack is going through a lot of transition. You're starting to see it get blacker and blacker in the corners, more rubber getting down. These crew chiefs know that over these last 230-something laps, they're going to have to keep freeing these cars up, but not make them loose, just make them turn better.
Now, Clint Boyer won yesterday's Nationwide Series race. Had it not rained, Kevin Harvick might have been the driver in victory lane. He had a great car. And how about Dario Franchitti's introduction to Bristol as Jimmy Johnson and Boyer go 3 wide on him?
Yeah, 3 wide will not work for long at Bristol. I know we've been talking about a high groove, but it will not work getting off in the corner. And Boyer now is going to take that position away from Jimmy Johnson. That was a battle for 6 as Carl Edwards in the 99 still on the lead lap, pulling up to the back of that group.
Well, Larry, if you have a run on somebody, you can't just lift off here because who knows when you'll get another one. So 3 wide will work for an instant, not for too long.
Somebody has to give before you get to that corner, though. Now, Franchitti right now is in the 33rd position, 3 laps down. I'm sure the big goal for him, just run all the laps today, run as many as possible.
16 cars on the lead lap. Juan Pablo Montoya is in that 16th position. There's a look at Franchitti, who was rookie of the race yesterday in the Nationwide Series, and is trying to fight his way into the top 35 in owner points. Right this minute, he's at 37th, came in here 38th. So a little bit of a gain, but not enough to get a qualifying exemption for Martinsville in 2 weeks.
But you saw it there, just 16 points. That's not very many positions. Now, right now, Casey Mears in the 5 who ran up in the top 10 in the early part of the race. He's trying to stay on the lead lap. Looks like Denny Hamlin in 11 will prevail.
Casey Mears getting overlapped by Denny Hamlin. And we apologize for some of the computer scoring info that we've been passing along here today. Some of it's just not quite up to date. And we'll try to get that worked out for you.
No, our leader right now is fighting traffic, Denny Hamlin in the 11, but Darrell was just pointing out to me, we watch his scoring monitor very faithfully up here. The guy that they better be watching is back there lurking in fourth. We call him Wild Thing, Kyle Busch in that 18 car.
What you're seeing at the top of your screen is the correct serial scoring. Some of the detailed information that's sent to us here in the booth, however.
Really well done here today, bud. Way to take your time. Way to be patient here.
And that's as good of advice as they can give him. Just a long way to go. Just be patient right now.
Yeah, he's actually driving a smart race so far.
We talked about Juan Pablo Montoya earlier. I know that they, on a pit stop or two ago, they actually threw a rubber in the right rear of that car trying to help that 42 car to turn, but now he's going to go a lap down here at lap 277.
Whoa, Paul Menard just dumped Dario Franchitti.
And that will bring the caution out.
And Casey Mears got stuffed into the wall trying to get back on the lead lap from Denny Hamlin. Oh, my gosh.
And you know, Franchitti, he got dumped yesterday in the Nationwide Series race by Casey Kane.
Well, he just got the Bristol stomp put on him. And poor Casey Mears is a victim yet again.
Right here.
Let's show you how all this unfolded to bring out our 6th caution of the day.
Going down the back straightaway. Menard got in the back of Franchitti almost before they got to the entrance of turn 3. You can just see it almost lift the back of the car up off the ground.
Looked like Darrell points out, Franchitti appears to have had a flat tire. And that's why he was off pace right there. And now here's Denny Hamlin, the leader. And Montoya's trying to get back on the lead lap.
Gets into the side of Denny Hamlin, the leader. You know, I'm sure Montoya Tab Boy, his spotter, had said caution's coming out, so he's trying to get back by the leader and sends the leader up into Casey Mears, who gets into the outside wall.
And the field is frozen, so can't pass the leader.
Krista?
Clint Boyer said he needed help center off, but his bigger problem was being loose into the turn. He needs air and wedge. 6.
Jeff Burton pits in the 5th position. He has had a good run all day. He has stopped short in the pit because Jeff Gordon is pitting right in front of him, and he's gone already. Steve.
Kyle Busch says his car is now pretty good. He said, I want a little more bite, but whatever you do, don't screw up the turn. Small air pressure adjustment. Matt.
The contact on the 11 of Hamlin, they were going to look at that. Curtis Markham, the spotter, did not see any tire rub. Meanwhile, his car much tighter over that run. We were overcast throughout much of the run. Same for his teammate, Tony Stewart.
3 wide coming off pit road, and it's the 3 Gibbs cars come out right together, and you'll need the electronic scoring to sort that one out. They were 3 across, dead even coming off.
Our race off pit road. You see Kyle Busch looks like he's the winner. They'll have to go back to the camera look. This is from the blimp.
Here they come to the line. Whoa.
Oh.
That's too close to
There
call.
you go. Looks like the 11 car won the battle. All 3 Gibbs cars. I believe Denny Hamlin won that battle, though, from that shot right there in the 11 car. But they used to always say it's a lot easier to... now, Denny Hamlin's actually coming back to pit road, and I think what they're going to do, they're going to go to work on that fender. We only have 16 cars on the lead lap, so they don't want to take a chance.
Go ahead and unpeel it there. Go ahead and unpeel it. They ain't got time to peel it. Pace car will be coming quick.
While we're under caution for this 6th time today, David Rudiman being held for pitting out of the box on his stop. Let's go down to Jeff Hammond for today's.
You saw the 11 car on pit road getting repairs. Now you have the 5 car, Casey Mears. They just went a lap down, and they're going to go another lap down. The 11 car did get back out there, so he'll stay on the lead lap.
We're under caution at Bristol at 284 laps.
For Easter Sunday, and we hope you have a good one. We'll be on to Martinsville, the shortest track on the circuit, and Jimmy Johnson going for his 4th straight win there, still looking for his 1st win of the year. Let's get ready to go green and head back upstairs.
Thanks, Chris. It was confirmed Dario Franchitti had a left rear tire that was going flat when Paul Menard got into him going into turn number 3. Kyle Busch, Tony Stewart, Jeff Burton, Kevin Harvick, Jimmy Johnson, Clint Boyer, and Carl Edwards in the outside lane as we restarted lap 287.
Now, Denny Hamlin, who had been leading this race, they came back to pit road for repairs. He's still on the lead lap. Right now, he's in the 15th position. We have 16 cars on the lead lap.
Harvick breaks out from traffic. And from there on back, it's double wide.
Pretty much looks like the start of the race here right now, because we do have so many cars that are 1 or more laps down. We're riding with Jeff Gordon right now in the 24 car. Jeff just outside the top 12, back in the 13th spot.
Spin, turn 2, the leader, Kyle Busch. The steering stuck. Oh, gosh.
I've had that happen here. Low air, and the box will block up.
And a fire from underneath Mike Skinner's car in turn 4.
Come down pit road.
He's going to drive that thing to the fire truck.
Pit road here. Stop right here.
They get him to stop right there. The fire truck was right there.
Stop. Stop right here. They don't want you to go down pit road. Stop right there. They'll come out right there.
And that's a good call, because there are cans of Sunoco race fuel all up and down pit road waiting to go into cars.
They would. There they are. There they're coming.
And here comes the fire apparatus. And Mike Skinner's car is extinguished.
Mike, I've had that steering stick before after a pit stop. Low air.
So Kyle Busch going for 2 in a row at Bristol, comes off turn 2, spins, and crashes to the inside.
You'll see him go off into turn 1 here. Car turns good right there. You're starting to see some smoke there, like maybe he had a low tire going down or something.
It looked like power steering fluid, like it blew a line off.
You're probably right, Darrell, because I think that's maybe what the smoke was there. And he just had no steering whatsoever, and you're going to see him go down and get the inside wall. Remember, he comes in here our points leader.
Here's Digger's view.
I believe that's exactly what happened, Darrell. Something failed on the power steering, a line or something. That's what the trail of smoke was.
The point leader and defending champion of this race, Kyle Busch, crashed but still out laps from now. Kyle Busch appeared to have power steering trouble that put him around and into the inside wall. You know, on your street car, if your car stalls while you're driving and it won't steer.
It's like it's locked up. It's like the steering arm is stuck on the sway bar or something.
But I just believe what's giving him that feel is he doesn't have the power steering assist, which is what power steering is. It's just steering assist, and I just don't think he has it, which is what the smoke was, some type of power steering fluid leak or a failure or something.
Steve?
Mike, that's exactly what it is. Steve Addington described it as a failure in the power steering box. They're going to have to come back around, get tires, and make sure the rear deck lid is attached. And Kyle Busch said, well, then I guess we need to get power steering boxes somewhere else then.
Jeff Hammond can show us more from our Ford Fusion 360 cutaway car.
Mike, Mike, what we want to talk about right now is if you have a power steering failure, and I want to point out something else. The 11 car, his teammate, Denny Hamlin, if you remember last week, they had power steering failure, and what it was, the bottom seal on this power steering box itself blew out. That might would have happened to Kyle Busch. Here's the steering box, and the seal is actually located in the bottom of this box. And with a small amount of reservoir and the way this thing pumps fluid into the box, it very easily could have blown that seal out. And if that's the event, all of a sudden he will not have any power steering the rest of the day. Here's the reservoir we're talking about that holds the fluid. It's pumped through these lines, again, all the way down into the pump, but back into that power assist box that Larry's talking about. But this team has experienced power steering box problems last week with the 11 car, so it may be the same thing this week on the 18. Mike?
Thanks, Jeff. And if you've ever been driving down the highway and your car stopped running, you would find it would be very hard to steer, because not only is the power assist not assisting, it's also limiting your ability to turn the car. That's going to be a tough one to control.
Well, you can get by with it at Atlanta, but DW, a little bit of a tough act at Bristol.
It's going to hurt for a long time.
And he's now back on pit road because the deck lid is loose with the rear wing, trying to get that fixed up. We've been talking about the drivers that have been hoping to gain ground here to get out of the danger zone and have that qualifying exemption going to Martinsville, where only the top 35 car owners. And here how things stand right now. Sam Hornish Jr. picking up a spot. Right now he would be 35th when we go to the paperclip shaped track in 2 weeks. But still a lot of racing to go here in Bristol. Nearly 200 laps left in this race as Tony Stewart will bring them around to the green flag to start lap 305.
Well, there's a lot of guys didn't get a good restart. They started accordion back there, even back to 5th, 6th, and 7th.
Skinner treated at the care center and released. And things stack up in the backstretch once again. It's Greg Biffle leading that outside lane around. A little bit of bump and a lot of run. Burton looking at Stewart for the lead. Harvick right there.
And we've talked about Kyle Busch winning this race a year ago. Remember, Jeff Burton finished a very, very close second to him. But I think the car they're going to have their hands full with is that yellow 29 car. That car is good on long runs, and they seem like they're making it better for the short runs, Kevin Harvick.
Larry, it used to be that to dive under a driver going into the corner almost guaranteed you the pass. But with the new progressive banking here, where the upper lane is 2 or 4 degrees banked more than the bottom lane, that bottom shot is no guarantee of making the pass anymore.
No, it's not, Mike. And you go do a race once a year at a little short track out at Irwindale. They were the first role model for progressive banking. As that banking goes up the racetrack and gets steeper, it allows side-by-side racing. Sometimes the second groove is the preferred groove.
That's what's happened at a lot of those tracks, Larry. Riverside Park in Massachusetts, Irwindale, California. Seemingly, the upper groove is the faster groove, but it makes for good 2 and 3 wide racing if the track's wide enough to accommodate it. And this one may need to be, because you got 3 hungry drivers there all wanting that lead. Stewart, Burton, Harvick. Jimmy Johnson now closing in on the front 3.
As I watch the 20 car, watch him back off. Watch him back off. Watch the 31 close up. Then he shoots off the corner. He's rolling it in easy, driving it off hard.
That's Darrell Waltrip. I think his voice a bit overcome by that generous gift in free race, and maybe a few too many laps on the track yesterday under threatening skies.
Hollering at Hammond yesterday. That's what did it.
Darrell will be back at full song 2 weeks from now at Martinsville. Don't worry.
Now, Kevin Harvick in the 29 car, he just took that position away from the 31. And I know this is just a short run. We need to get into a long run, but the car that seems like they keep making it better and better is that car back in 4th place, Chad Knaus with Jimmy Johnson in the Lowe's car. But you know, Darrell talked about Tony rolling out of the throttle earlier. That was one of our keys. You don't beat people getting in the corner at Bristol. You beat them off the corner, and that will prevail because you carry that speed all the way down. Even though the straightaway is only 650 feet long, it's important to carry that speed all the way down that straightaway.
We need to mention that Casey Kane got the free pass on that last caution flag. Look at Stewart's laps led here. The last 3 trips to Bristol, last 2 spring races, he has led the most laps. But the leader of the most laps has failed to win 7 of the last 10 Bristol events, including the last 4.
We got a battle shaping up here with Matt Kenseth, that 17 car, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. Krista, looks like they're starting to gain on that car.
Absolutely, Larry Mack. He had talked about before this run his car being a little loose. He said he has started to develop a little bit of a push, but he's likened his season to a basketball game where, of course, in tournament time for March Madness, Dale Jr. said it's nice relief to have started the season off so strong, but like a semifinal game, you can't enjoy it too much because you don't know what's around the turn. Steve Burns?
Well, Chris, speaking of basketball, Matt Kenseth earlier saying that his right front tire felt like it was bouncing like a basketball. They've been tight and working on that 17 to free him up.
And Steve, he's been able to gain a little ground on Dale Jr. Inching away from him. Jr. had caught him about 6 laps ago.
Taking a ride with Matt Kenseth, you can see a little bit of brake getting in the corner, but just look how big the RPM band is. You can see him playing with the throttle down to about 6,500, well over 9,000 at just a spiking RPM getting into the corner. You can see Matt is about 6.5 seconds behind leader Tony Stewart. Tell you a guy I've been watching, Mike, he's kept his nose clean, is David Gilliland in this 38 car. He started back in the 32nd position for Yates Racing. He stayed out of trouble, and right now he's sitting there in the 13th position battling Scott Riggs in the 66, which Scott is actually 1 lap down. But that's a great run for David. That group, they need a great run. That sponsor on that car, right now it only goes through Talladega.
And the other Yates car is sponsorless with Travis Quapple. Although they have on the hood of Quapple's car, it says $11 million. And that's not dollars. That's not what it costs to sponsor that car. But that's the average number of viewers we have every week at NASCAR on Fox, not including the season opening Daytona 500. So that is on there to note that your corporate logo could be seen by 11 million people a week right there.
Let's do a little update on Denny Hamlin in the 11 car. Remember, they came back to pit road several times under that last caution to get some fender problems resolved. He restarted back in 16th, and right now he is working his way toward Matt Kenseth, which would put him back in the top 10. Right now, the 11 is sitting in the 11th spot. So still a long way to go. We've still got 173 laps of racing.
Wasn't that long ago the 3 Gibbs cars were exiting pit road side by side for the lead. Now Stewart leads. Hamlin is 11th, and Kyle Busch, after his crash, is a lap down in 22nd. Tony Stewart still leading Kevin Harvick by 0.6. Text RACE to 75555 to get your NASCAR Love ringtone, or go to Jamster.com, keyword RACE for details. You can download the whole song at iTunes. Tony Stewart right now he's just overlapped Kyle Busch. Kyle had a little difficulty getting past Sam Hornish, had to back out of it, and Tony took advantage to move past his teammate and now put Kyle 2 laps down.
But I tell you, Darrell pointed it out. Where that 20 car is so strong is where he gets back to the throttle. The car just lunges off the corner. Go back to something Jeff Hammond was talking about earlier in our broadcast. That car has good forward bite. When he puts the power down, the car takes it. He's able to stay in the throttle.
Right behind him, the 2nd place, number 29 of Kevin Harvick. Matt's in his pit.
For about the first time today, Mike, his car has gone to the free side. Now, his spotter, Billy O'Day, was telling him that the 31, his teammate Burton, had moved to the line that Harvick was running and seemed to pick up, and Harvick said, I've had to adjust mine because the car went to the free side. Mike, you talk a lot about how things happen here fast. Harvick's spotter Is 3 going to be enough? Because, oh, yeah, things happen fast here. You got to be ready for it.
Yes, they do. About 16 seconds a lap it happens here.
You know, Tony Stewart has not moved away from Kyle Busch at all. In fact, Kyle is giving Tony fits right now. Yeah, you just go on. You go ahead.
And you know what? Right now, the 18 car is not a factor because he's still 1 lap down, and we're getting down to 150 laps to go. Don't just sit there and get aggravated by it. Just let him go on.
But this yellow car is a factor. Kevin Harvick wants the lead from Stewart.
You know, Kevin had a great run in the Nationwide Series race yesterday driving his own car, and I think he had a lug nut issue and put him back in the pack, and of course with it being rain shortened, he just couldn't make his way back up there.
Harvick is going to get the lead.
And Stewart did not challenge there. He knew that 29 right now is a little bit better than he is.
It's the first time Harvick has led today, and right behind Stewart, Harvick's teammate Jeff Burton, the runner-up here last year, has taken over third from Jimmy Johnson, and Johnson comes right back at him.
Clear, there you go.
Matt?
And a few moments ago, Mike, you can talk about the mood in the 48 team. Yes, they haven't won yet this year, but they're not really pressing the panic button just yet. Chad Knaus asked Jimmy, do we need to get you an energy bar in the next stop? He says, no chance of that. We're just rolling right along. As well, I do know you did play a lot of Guitar Hero last night. Didn't it, Berger?
Jeff Burton has slipped from second position to the 4th spot. He has lost the rear grip in the car and said he is sliding all over the place.
And, you know, just going back to Jimmy Johnson, I don't want to make Darrell tell the story, but what Jimmy Johnson told Darrell the other day in the motor coach lot was, nobody needs to panic. We could easily put in our race car what our teammates are running right now, and we could run 3rd, 4th, or 5th. Right now, as we got to battle back for the lead, Tony Stewart gets it back from Kevin Harvick going off into turn 3. But what Jimmy told Darrell is, we're working on the big picture. What we want to do is we want to be in position where we can win races, make the chase, and get those bonus points just like we did last year. Don't panic yet, he said.
Johnson and Burton about 1 second behind Tony Stewart, who's gone back out front of Kevin Harvick. 1 up on top, 1 on the bottom, and now lap traffic comes into play.
29's coming with him, outside.
And Tony Stewart starting to arc the high groove. Now he goes to the bottom on Elliott Sadler, and who's right in front of him? Kyle Busch, his teammate. Meanwhile, a little further back, Denny Hamlin has reappeared in the top 10 in that FedEx number 11.
He just went by Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 88 car, so that'll move Denny up into the 9th position.
Turn 4, Jarrett almost up and into the wall, but he missed it by inches.
We stay green. Let's take a look at what happened here. You see Jimmy Johnson in the 48 car just pretty much gets into the side of Dale Jarrett. You'll see Dale just barely be able to keep it off the wall. Right now, Dale is in the 36th position, 6 laps down. A lot of that was because he had to make a green flag stop for a tire issue earlier in the race.
Right, lost 3 or 4 laps when he had a flat on the right side. Tony Stewart, Kevin Harvick, half a second apart. Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Burton, Clint Boyer, your top 5.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Racing on Fox, presented by AutoZone, is sponsored by UPS. Thanks, Dale Jarrett, for 7 unforgettable years. It's been a great ride, Dale.
I hope you have a very good last race. Hey guys, before we get ready to go here, thanks for all your hard work, your efforts, and it's really been a pleasure working with you. I'll still be around, but thanks for everything you've done for me. Thank you, DJ. That car wouldn't be on the track without you, man.
at Fox. UPS delivers up-to-the-minute race information at foxsports.com. Keyword Fox Tracks. 32 wins, including one here in the night race in the fall. For Dale Jarrett, 668 starts and a championship. Tony Stewart has passed Kyle Busch. That puts Busch 2 laps down and thus not eligible for the free pass should a caution come out. Tony still just half a second ahead of Kevin Harvick. Jeff Burton within 1 second of the lead. Then Jimmy Johnson, and Greg Biffle has fought his way up to the top 5.
I'm going to say, I've been watching this 16 car, and it's like they've really just been adjusting on that race car. He comes in here on the heels of 2 consecutive top 5 finishes, came in here second in the points, and he just passed Clint Boyer a few laps ago to break back into the top 5.
As we stand right now, Kyle Busch would still leave here leading the Sprint Cup standings with Harvick second and Biffle third. Tony Stewart would climb 4 spots up to 4th and Jeff Burton 5th.
The good news for Kyle Busch, I know you mentioned he's 2 laps down, and we still have a quarter of this race to go, Mike. But
Turn 2, Johnson goes around after getting into Jeff Burton.
No caution, keep digging. We just got some.
Caution is out now. The caution is out.
Caution's out. Good save there, bud.
There was a slow car holding them up as they tried to thread the needle. They got together, and Johnson cut it hard left to keep from crashing Burton.
Burton, of course, was battling Robbie Gordon in the 7 car. Robbie's a lap down. Jeff came down the racetrack a little bit, and Jimmy did all he could try to do to stay off of the 31 car.
That'll put us under the 8th caution flag of the day. Martin Truex will get the free pass.
Oh, go for Cam Digger. He's had a workout these last couple of weeks.
Inside.
He's got a headache.
Nice save, bud. Keep going. No caution. No caution. Caution's out. Caution's out.
And pit road's open.
Jimmy Johnson stayed in the 6th position. Krista, this could be a critical stop. We're getting down near the end.
Absolutely. The 017 just said, make sure you pack it full of fuel. Those were the words from Gil Martin, the crew chief. Clint needs to turn just a little bit better in the center, but he does not want to lose his entry, so a minor change, a small air pressure adjustment in the right rear. Dick.
Jeff Burton, after complaining the car was sliding all over the place, managed to pick up another spot. He pitted out of the 3rd position. Now they're going to make a minor change in the car to try to help it turn just a little bit better. Steve.
Greg Biffle said to crew chief Greg Irwin, hey, I'm pretty good. Just put some tires on it. Just a small air pressure adjustment on the 16, Matt.
Tony Stewart, the leader, wants to go a little more of the track bar adjustment they made on the last stop. Meanwhile, Kevin Harvick, he says, I just need more rear grip. And the sun is out once again. Good stop by the 20 guys.
It was, Matt. They'll be out first ahead of Harvick, Burton, Johnson, and Biffle.
Johnson brought the caution out, but he's going to gain spots on pit road.
How about that? Green flag to begin lap 382. Kyle Busch restarted alongside Tony Stewart, trying to get one of his 2 laps back. Didn't happen. Stewart took off. So did Kevin Harvick and Jeff Burton in hot pursuit. Jimmy Johnson 4th, Greg Biffle 5th, Clint Boyer, Carl Edwards, and Denny Hamlin. Matt Kenseth's 9th, Dale Jr.'s 10th, Kurt Busch 11th, Eric Almirola having a great race 12th, and surprisingly Jeff Gordon mired back in 13th. He's had a push all day and has not been hardly a factor at all in this race.
He's really just caught the cautions right because he's been on the verge of going a lap down a couple of times in this 24 car. You know, right before that caution, what I was about to mention about Kyle Busch in the 18 car, who is 2 laps down, is the fact that it's unusual. You can be 2 laps down and still be in the top 20, but because we have so many cars that are 2 or more laps down, it's still got them in pretty decent shape as far as a points day.
Krista in the pits of the 10th place car, Dale Jr.
Mike, it's funny. We've talked about how this track changes. Dale Jr., listen to the conversation. Back on lap 319, he said he felt like he was just in the way. His car got worse on lap 327. He said he wasn't worth anything. Right before that stop, he said, hey, my car's not too bad. They can't make it to the end on field, they say.
Boy, Tony Stewart took it hard into turn number 1. A little too hard. Kevin Harvick had a chance to get underneath him and did, and Harv's got the lead.
I believe they've got that old 29 car right where they want it. Now we've got this battle right here between Clint Boyer, Harvick's teammate in the 07, Biffle in the 16. It was a battle for 5th. Boyer will take the position away.
And that puts all 3 of Childress's Chevys in the top 5 once again.
Which they've been there a big part of the day.
Trouble for Hornish coming off turn 4, and he's going to stack up the field going down the front straightaway. He got banged around a bit, but managed to straighten it out. Let's see who did what to whom, or is it who?
9 car.
Casey Kane in the 9 car. He is on the lead lap, just gets in the left rear quarter panel of Sam Hornish. Sam wasn't that lucky on Friday in a couple of spins, but he was able to save it. Right now, Sam is 3 laps down back in the 29th position. One of those cars trying to fight to get in the top 35 and owner points.
And Jeff, looking at Hornish, that's one of these things we like about the COT platform. It's hard. We didn't used to see a car get that far sideways and be able to straighten it out a place like this.
No, Mike, you don't have that situation like we used to have with the old car. The new car definitely a lot more stable whenever you get knocked sideways, which a second ago it looked like Paul Menard was going to test that theory one more time. Got in the left rear quarter panel of the 77 car, but that's one of the beautiful benefits so far of the new car. I think we also saw Jimmy Johnson and the 31 car Jeff Burton get sideways, and those guys were able to recover because of it. So it's a great benefit to have a car that when you get it crossed up like that, it works to get you back going straight ahead.
And Jeff, Darrell just pointed out to Mike and I that Jimmy Johnson in the 48 on that last situation over in turn 2 was able to drive out of that what would have been a spin.
Yeah, exactly, Larry. And that's we've seen that several times this year, whether it's been on the super speedway or on the short track. This car is a lot harder to wreck no matter what the situation may come up to be. And we've seen a lot of beating banging going on down. It was great to see some of the side shots from the in cars and see the donuts down the side of these cars, realizing we're back short track racing one more time, guys. This is the kind of racing we all grew up doing, and it's great to see it. You can see the donuts right there in the middle of the number 7 off of Robbie Gordon, and probably another one getting put on right then by Eric Almirola to the 7 car. So good side-by-side racing here at Bristol.
Eric Almirola has been the story of the day.
They just made more contact down the back straightaway. Jeff, I think Eric has had about all of Robbie he wants right now. Remember, Eric is on the lead lap sitting in the 11th spot.
But he's the rawest of rookies in this field, Larry, and has just had a tremendous drive as we watch Denny Hamlin powering past Carl Edwards and taking over 7th. It's been a long run for Hamlin back toward the front. And as Casey Mears returns to the track, we now have all 43 cars back in the race. Jamie McMurray came back in a while ago, so despite a couple of big crashes, everybody's running.
Yeah, Mike Skinner's back out there. We found out what that fire was. We've been talking about the accordion effect. He stacked up and busted the front oil cooler, but they repaired it. He's back out there.
100 laps to go in Thunder Valley. You're watching NASCAR on Fox. Tony Stewart by half a second. As today's aerial coverage is brought to you by DirecTV. NASCAR Hot Pass only on DirecTV puts you behind the wheel. 160,000 plus fans in the seats and suites. Competitors and officials only in the infield because there's no room for any fans in there. And they are watching Tony Stewart close up on Kevin Harvick once again for the lead. Stewart has led 185 laps today. This will be the 3rd Spring Bristol race in a row in which he has led the most laps. Hamlin coming after Jimmy Johnson, 5th place, as Denny Hamlin continues to fight back from that incident earlier.
I've been watching this car, and the problem was they came back to pit road on the 6th caution back on lap 279, repaired the front fender, so that was about 130 laps ago, and as we got a battle for the lead again between Kevin Harvick and Tony Stewart. And they're starting to get in some heavy lap traffic now.
Stewart powering around the outside. Back to the middle groove. Mike Skinner just ahead in that repaired car after the fire earlier. And Stewart Motors on pass with 85 laps to go. But you're right, Larry, a lot of traffic right in front of the leaders now.
Well, and that's great news for guys like Jeff Burton, Clint Boyer, and Denny Hamlin, who I was just talking about before we got that battle for the lead. I felt like maybe Denny was going to need the aid of a caution to get back up there, but I think he's got a good enough car to almost get there on his own, pretty much with 84 laps to go, because they restarted this race back in 16th just a little over 100 laps ago, so they have got up there without the help of a lot other than just the fact of the performance of their car.
Let's check on the leaders. Matt?
Nice rebound for Hamlin and the 11 team, who's led 90 laps today. His biggest hindrance is just being tight. The majority of that, Mike, has been because he's been stuck in traffic. He's trying to be patient, methodically working his way back to the point.
Denny Hamlin 3 seconds off the lead as Stewart and Harvick carve their way through traffic, passing Kyle Petty.
Well, here's the example I give you. Again, Tony Stewart is starting to fight traffic. He just ran a 16.75. The lap before this, Denny Hamlin ran a 16.47 because Denny has pretty much an open racetrack. The lap cars is Denny Hamlin's best friends right now.
The next car in front of Denny, though, is one he's got a battle for position. That's Clint Boyer in the 07. How about Boyer, Krista?
Mike, Clint Boyer is scratching and clawing his way, trying to get to the front, because he said if he can get to the front, they can set sail. He told Gil Martin, his crew chief, I can get out front. I don't think anyone can catch him.
Right now, he's got his hands full with Denny Hamlin, that 11 car. I think Denny, he keeps kind of working around trying to find a way to get by Boyer. They keep catching lap traffic the wrong way. You can see Denny Hamlin starting to work that high side just a little bit. We've been talking about this a lot, trying to diamond the racetrack, but now he's going to go to the inside of Boyer.
Nice bottom shot for Hamlin coming off turn number 2. Got him a run down the hill and got him the momentum to make the pass. Still, Hamlin is 3 seconds behind the leader, his teammate Tony Stewart. "75 laps to go next time as you see Stewart in clean air and about to catch a bit of traffic, but under no immediate pressure from Kevin Harvick. You're watching Sprint Cup Racing, presented on Fox by Auto, leading Kevin Harvick by a full second now as they work traffic. Jeff Burton another full second back, gives Stewart a bit of breathing room. Denny Hamlin now 4th, 2.5 seconds off the lead, and Clint Boyer 4.5 seconds off first. Jimmy Johnson has faded a bit. He is 6th, and he's about to fall into the clutches of Dale Earnhardt Jr., who a lap ago passed Greg Biffle for 7th. Maybe a reason why Jimmy Johnson's car is falling back as we listened into their team.
A lot tighter. I swear to you, that toe got knocked out when I hit the 31. That part, bud. Nothing we can do about it, man. We just got to try to ride it out. If we adjust the toe, we're done.
That was what brought out the 8th caution flag of the day when Jimmy got into Jeff Burton. And we're going to make Jimmy our Allstate Good Hands driver of the day, because he gets into Jeff Burton here as they're trying to lap Robbie Gordon, gets sideways, doesn't spin it all the way. The caution comes out. He lost, what, 3, 4 positions, and then gained a couple of those back on pit road. So Jimmy is today's Allstate Good Hands driver. Allstate, are you in good hands?
And just to talk about the toe out, it's a front end setting. You adjust it with the tie rods. You make the front of the front tires just a little wider than the rear by putting some toe out. It gives the car security. But Chad Knaus is absolutely right. This late in the race, you come to pit road under caution, even under caution, and adjust that, you're going to be at the back of the pack and you'll never get it back.
16 cars still on the lead lap as Greg Biffle, who is the highest Ford in the race, in 8th place, tries to get Johnson for 7th. Steve?
Mike, when that caution came out on lap 375, Biffle said the car was good, just put tires on it. But since that time, during this run, he said it's gotten a little bit loose, and that splitter is hitting the racetrack.
And I tell you, that's been the characteristics of this race car. This is the 1-year anniversary. We've been running this car here. Is getting it between turning good and not being loose is like sitting on top of a razor blade. But while we've been watching this battle, we do need to mention Denny Hamlin. We've been following his march back to the front. He just drove by Jeff Burton to take that 3rd spot away. Now he's only 2 seconds behind his teammate Tony Stewart with 56 laps to go. As long as he can catch the lap traffic right, I think there's time for that 11 car to get there.
So, Jeff, what happened? Hamlin was 3 seconds back. The leaders did not get stuck in traffic. Now he's only 2 seconds back. What woke Denny Hamlin up?
Well, it might be tire management, Mike, because the good thing about it, we've been talking about it all day. You still, this late in the run, the racetrack's been rubbered up. But the key thing is pacing yourself. I've worked with that man up there in the booth before. All of a sudden, guys are driving away from us, but Darrell's running a real steady, let's just say 17-second flat lap. And all of a sudden, guys are out in front of you. Well, they come back, they slow down a little bit, and all of a sudden you keep catching up with him because you're more consistent. He may have a better race car than the guys up front right now because of that.
I think he does, Jeff, and I think one other thing, Larry, is right now he can see Kevin Harvick. Harvick is just about 10 car lengths out in front of him. That's 2nd place, and that's within his grasp.
Well, Darrell keeps pointing out to me what that 11 car is doing is he goes up the hill, and then he runs it down to the bottom and gets that run. He's diamonding this racetrack, which I've been watching his teammate, Tony Stewart. That's what he started doing the last few laps. And Kevin Harvick is running right around the bottom all the way around the corner.
50 laps to go next time by. Tony Stewart has led 220 of the 450 laps, by far the most laps of any driver today. He's 1.3 seconds ahead of Kevin Harvick. Can Stewart hold him off and score Toyota's 2nd win? Tony Stewart leads Kevin Harvick by 0.4 of a second. Their gap is pretty constant. Denny Hamlin is the fastest car on the racetrack. He's trying to close in from half a straightaway back. But what Hamlin's number 11 really needs is for Stewart and Harvick to go at each other for the lead, and then Hamlin can be right there and make it a threesome for the finish.
Well, I think what's going to make a big difference is Tony Stewart is about to catch a ton of lap cars up there as we're getting down to 38 laps to go. And right now, Denny Hamlin has that wide open racetrack sitting back there in 3rd.
Jeff Burton is now 4th. Dale Earnhardt Jr. has climbed to 5th. Clint Boyer 6th. Greg Biffle, Jimmy Johnson, Carl Edwards, Matt Kenseth, and here comes Junior for 4th place.
They've been working on that 88 car, Tony Eury Jr., all day long, and I think they finally got it where they need it, as he's going to take that position away. Right now, though, they're about 6 seconds behind leader Tony Stewart.
Matt Kenseth still on the lead lap in 10th. Eric Almirola having a great race. Kurt Busch, Jeff Gordon, both past winners here, and both mired in the teens, 12th and 13th. Here's Edwards trying the high side around Johnson, and Matt Kenseth to follow. As Johnson, the car towed out from that bump up with Jeff Burton, continues to fall back.
Tell you what, our leader just had a close call. I know we're watching this battle right here, but Ryan Newman, we talked about lap traffic up there, just about got together with Tony Stewart in the 20. In fact, you're going to see the 12 car try to get to pit road. There you see the replay right there. Ooh. Newman just went up the racetrack, and there you see Harvick was right there behind them.
Close call for Tony. Newman comes to pit road. Tire down. 33 to go. The other lead lap cars are Casey Kane and David Gilliland. Here's a look at Kane, who is 14th, 12 seconds off the lead. And traffic ahead for our leader.
A lot of traffic.
Yep. Martin Truex, 16th. Moves past Mike Skinner, and here comes Harvick and Hamlin.
Darrell was pointing out to me, and he's absolutely right. Denny Hamlin keeps catching the traffic just perfect. Tony Stewart is catching it all but perfect when he gets to him, but he's the leader of the race.
Well, Larry, you know, these drivers will fight to stay on the lead lap or to keep from losing another lap. Once the first and second place cars go by you, no harm in laying over for the fellows who are third and fourth. You've lost your lap. Let them go.
Boy, Harvick really got a good run off turn 2 that time, but we've been talking about him. He's been marching to the front. That 11 car keeps getting a good run off the corner as well, as we've got 28 laps to go now.
Mike and Larry, one thing I want to throw back in here, and we talked about it early part of the race, but with only 28 laps to go, let's bring it up one more time. 500 laps here at Bristol, you've got to survive. And now we're getting down to crunch time, as you guys have been pointing out. As the leaders are coming up, guys are getting fatigued, cars are getting fatigued, tires are wore out. So you've got to make sure you're smart enough not to put yourself in a jeopardizing type of situation where you could wind up getting wrecked by somebody you're trying to lap. So survival is so important right at the moment.
And if that's not enough element, all 43 cars are still out there.
Might be a historic first today. It would be the first time since we went to a 43-car field that all 43 cars are running at the checkered flag on a short track Sprint Cup race. 15 to go, and it's going to be a 3-horse race. Tony Stewart and Kevin Harvick are just a couple of car lengths apart. Denny Hamlin got some clear racetrack, and he's close to within 1 second of the 2 leaders, who are getting back into traffic with 15 to go.
I tell you what, though, Kevin Harvick, he's eating that rear bumper, that 20 car up. But I've been watching Tony Stewart in the 20. He's working the bottom. If Harvick goes around him, it's going to be because of a lap car, or he has to do it on the high side. Stewart is not going to give the bottom of the racetrack up.
14 cars on the lead lap, including good runs by Eric Almirola.
Oh, we got one in the wall. Brian Vickers is in the wall down in turn 1 and 2. We stay green so far, but he's going to have a tough time getting back across the racetrack to get to pit road.
Track is clear as Vickers limps around.
We have so many cars out there, he can't get to the bottom. There's not a hole to get to the bottom. And
Yellow
there's
flag.
the caution.
Caution out. 15 to go. Check that. 11 laps to go, we're told. And watch on the left of your screen what happens here with the 83 of Brian Vickers.
Looks like you had a right front tire down. Car just straight into the wall.
Definitely a tire.
Now, here's what's going to be interesting. We're going to be under 10 laps to go. We only have 14 cars on the lead lap. These guys have been out there for 120 laps on their tires. I think you're going to probably see the guys at the front try to stay out. Well, Harvick actually going to pit. But I think with that few cars on the lead lap, you're going to see a lot of the guys at the back come in. It'll be a single file restart. They won't have lap cars to deal with.
I know the loneliest guy out there is a 29 car.
Yeah, because he pits and...
But he has a lot of friends coming with him, Darrell. You've got the 31, you've got the 07, the 16. In fact, pretty much, it looks like the only cars that stayed out was the 20, the 11, and the 88, possibly. You only had 3 cars, I think, that stayed out.
Well, Jeff Burton really needed a pit because his car had gotten really, really tight, and he had dropped all the way back to the 6th position. To Matt.
Interesting call on the 29 of Harvick. Just over 100 laps on those tires. Stewart was debating on pitting, and then Greg Zabelli said, we only have about 11 laps left. We're not going to be able to make up that track position. Meanwhile, the 99 of Carl Edwards also hits pit road. What a day he has had, Mike. Thought he had a fire inside the race car. One point, diagnosis, maybe his cooling system had burned up, and then his car has just been tight most of the afternoon.
That's quite a day. Greg Biffle among those that stopped, getting back out. Jeff, what do you think about Kevin Harvick giving up second place to come on to pit road?
I think right there Todd Berrier kind of rolled the dice saying, you know, I think we might be able to beat him, but I know if I get 4 tires, I can beat him. And I think that might be the call of the day right now. Even though we're only going to have a very few laps to go, this is not the old Bristol, guys. He can pass to the outside. 4 good years right now may be the difference between trying to hold the bottom and run the outside.
Larry, it's really a blind draw because the only way his strategy works is if everybody else follows him in.
And it did. You only have 3 cars out there, and they're on 120-something lap tires. And that's Tony Stewart, Denny Hamlin, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. And again, no lap cars to deal with because it'll be a single-file restart.
Krista?
Plenty of turmoil Dale, down here in the 88. Dale Jr. wanted to come in. Tony Jr. said, no, stay out. Dale said, I can't hold on, but I'll do what you want me to. Tony Jr. said, well, maybe you should come in and get 2, but it was too late. He'd already gone by. Dale Jr. does not think he can hold on with these guys.
Right now, we thought Kevin Harvick was the loneliest man. Right now, you're looking at the loneliest man out there because he's going to have a pack of wolves on his rear bumper with fresh tires.
Tony Stewart's best and maybe only chance to win this race is to get away clean on the restart and build up a bit of distance on Denny Hamlin and the rest of this pack.
And like Darrell pointed out to me, he's going to have to also deal with a car that was a little better than his car. That's his teammate, Denny Hamlin. They're on equal tires, but I think the 11 was a little better than the 20.
Getting ready for our Claret and Clear to Drive restart. Going to wave it off. We'll take one more lap. Darrell, I know you don't have a lot of voice left, but I know you're itching to get in on this. Can Kevin Harvick come from 4th place and win it?
I think he can, because what Jeff said, you got the outside working. He gets up on the outside, 4 tires, he could do it.
Right now, Tony Stewart's best friend is NASCAR waving off one of those laps that he's going to have to race.
That's not helping any.
Nope. 494 complete, 6 to go. Lights out on the pace car, so we'll look for the green flag with 5 laps to go.
I don't know if we said it, but the 16 car behind Harvick, he only has 2 right side tires. He has all 4 tires, but they just changed right sides.
Tony Stewart has not won since August of 2007 on the road course at Watkins Glen. Kevin Harvick's last win came 40 races ago in the 07 Daytona 500.
I wouldn't wait. I'd go the outside, right off the 29. Go high.
You better take advantage of those tires right off the bat.
Catch them. They're going to fight for the bottom.
Here we go.
Go the top.
5 laps to go, and this is Bristol. Tony Stewart gets a good jump on the field.
Well, Mike, he knew he better get a good jump because right now we get back to the line. We're only going to have 4 laps to go. There goes Harvick. Look at the inside at the end of the backstretch on the 88 car. He'll take that position before we get off turn 4.
And Stewart in trouble. Hamlin goes by him.
On the outside, Dale Earnhardt Jr. continues to fight Harvick. We got a slow car that's in the middle there. Dale Jarrett, he'll get out of the way. They'll be coming to 3 laps to go.
And it's a 3-horse race, but it's Hamlin out in front. Hamlin was quickest before the caution of these 3.
Now Harvick, he's going to look to the inside on Stewart going into turn 3 and 4. He's going to get that position away. 2 to go. 160,000 people, nobody's sitting down.
Outside.
No caution. There's the caution now. There's the caution.
Field is frozen, and we will go to overdrive. These 160,000 plus fans will get everything they paid for and more.
I'd like to talk, but I'm glad I can't.
Now we're going to have to go back to the. They'll go back to the scoring loop.
I'm sorry, Billy.
As we said, this is Bristol.
Maybe.
You have that 100-lap stretch where not much happens, and then in the final 10 laps of this race, any and everything can happen. And look at this grandstand. Nobody has left. As from the DirecTV blimp, you'll see the contact.
And you can see Harvick's car just walked up the racetrack just ever so slightly. That's all it takes here in the corners at Bristol.
For the 3rd straight year, Tony Stewart leads the most laps at Bristol. Will not go to victory lane.
Now, Mike, I know we said it was a 3-horse race, but now all of a sudden Jeff Burton, who has 4 fresh tires, he's sitting up there on the rear bumper of Denny Hamlin in that 11. And you know, Darrell, one thing I think that caused that 29 to walk up that racetrack, he got those left side tires down on the apron, which is a different angle than the banking, and I think that caused him to walk up just a little bit.
Tony is slow getting in the corner. He backs off early. Harvick was trying to take advantage of that.
Right there, you saw how Jeff Burton got to 2nd place.
watching Tony all day. He backs off real early. That opened the door for Harvick. And Harvick got on the apron, got into him.
Let's watch Jeff Burton's view.
Saw him clip the apron.
Stay down, stay down, stay down. Come on, come on. Still there. Caution's out, caution's out.
And that move has put Jeff Burton into second place.
That away, boss, that away.
Behind Denny Hamlin. It's not over, but it will be shortly.
Now, Stewart is still on the lead lap right now, and as we mentioned earlier, we have 15 cars on the lead lap. No one gets a free pass in the last 10 laps of the race.
If you'd like to get an exclusive look inside the world of Richard Childress Racing with Jeff Burton and the number 31 Chevrolet, thanks to AT&T, now you can. Using cellular video on your AT&T handset, you can access all of the inside RCR content. 501 laps go on the board. Here's how overdrive works. Green flag, then you'll see the white flag, and then you'll see the checkers or the wreckers.
And at Bristol, it very well could be the latter of the two.
Either or, even money.
You know, while we're looking at Jeff Burton here that's sitting in second place, we need to mention that Clint Boyer got by Dale Earnhardt Jr. Of course, Dale Earnhardt Jr. out there on older tires. I know we've got 2 laps to go, but I've got to give a call right now to 2 cars in the top 10. David Gilliland in the 38 car in 9th. And how about, we've talked about him, Eric Almirola in that Army car sitting there in 10th.
Great run for both those drivers. Now, on that last green flag run, Dale Earnhardt Jr. was giving up some spots. Krista?
Yeah, Mike, and we told you how there was a conflict between him and his crew chief deciding whether to pit or not. Dale Jr. knew his tires would probably not hold up. Just now he had come on the radio to talk to Tony Jr. and said he may have a right front flat tire. He hasn't mentioned it since.
And what happens when you have those hot tires, we've talked about the rubber laying on the racetrack, you'll pick up that rubber and it'll make you feel like you've got a flat tire till you get them cleaned off.
Yeah, it looks all right. I don't see it flat.
1 to go. You got to feel for Tony Stewart. Led the most laps, had a great run going here. Not going to win it. Kim Burton hoping that her husband Jeff will be the one who goes to victory lane. Remember last year, great second place finish for Burton behind Kyle Busch in the debut of the COT platform.
And I felt like last year, if anybody but Burton had been behind Busch, Busch would have been in trouble.
Joe Gibbs trying for his second win in a row. He won with Kyle Busch last week. He's got Denny Hamlin up there. We get 1 try at green-white checker. We go into overdrive, getting ready for the restart. Green flag, 2 to go.
Denny Hamlin got a great restart. He didn't spin the tires like I was a little concerned about. Burton works up the racetrack just a little bit. There he goes. Hamlin's in trouble.
Same thing happened to Burton to Hamlin last year.
Settle in, get a good drive. Good drive.
Flipping down the front straightaway.
And both the Childress cars will get by him too. Hamlin's got a problem there, as well as Carl Edwards in the 99.
Bring it on, bring it on.
Levin's got a fuel pickup problem.
For the first time in 2008, a Chevrolet will go to victory lane. RCR 1, 2, 3. Burton, Harvick, Boyer.
Richard Childress Racing has never had a 1-2 finish. They just had a 1-2-3.
Unbelievable. And that's why they sell it out every time the Sprint Cup Series comes to Bristol.
Greg Biffle ended up 4th. Dale Earnhardt Jr. ended up 5th.
29 starts at Bristol for Jeff Burton. This is the first time he will drive to victory lane in a Sprint Cup car here. He's not won since Texas last spring.
Way to go, buddy.
34 races ago.
Great job, Jeff. Proud of all of you guys. Proud of you. 1, 2, 3. Thank you, guys, all of you.
Car owner Richard Childress, congratulations.
Great job at the pits today, guys.
Team Chevy driver Jeff Burton on winning at Bristol Motor Speedway from Chevy, an American Revolution. What I love about this place, you just never know until the checkered flag falls.
Congratulations, Scott Miller.
Really be anxious about that 11 car, because he shouldn't have been out of fuel unless he had a cable problem or a pickup problem like he had a year ago, because they'd only run 120 laps on fuel.
He's having that car other times. Fuel pickup problem.
Kim Burton reacting to the pass for the lead. That will send her husband, Jeff Burton, to victory lane. You know, and I bet that Pinewood Derby car he's been building for Harrison for the last month or so, I bet that turned out pretty good, too. From South Boston, Virginia, Jeff Burton leads a Richard Childress Racing Chevrolet sweep at Bristol. At lap 497, Jeff Burton was 5th. He raced past a spinning Tony Stewart and a sliding Kevin Harvick into 2nd, and on the restart, passed the 11 of Denny Hamlin, and now he's in victory lane. Dick Berggren is there.
Congratulations on a job well done. Take us through those last couple of laps, Jeff.
Oh, I thought not again. Same exact scenario as last year, just a different car in front of me, and I thought, oh God, not this again. But you know, obviously Harvick and Stewart got together there, and that opened the door for me to squeeze in. And then I don't know. I don't know if he ran out of gas or what happened, but he quit and we kept going. Worked out.
Toward the end, before the last pit stop, the car had tightened up and you lost spot after spot. Did you think your day was over, or did you have confidence that your crew could get you back up front?
Well, I didn't, obviously, without a caution that day, you know, we weren't going to win. We had a good car all day. The AT&T Chevrolet was good. It was never the best car, but it was always the top 5 car. And the worst we were was that run. And, you know, things work out sometimes for you, and sometimes they don't. Today it worked out for us, and we'll take it.
Well done. Congratulations. Matt.
Oh, 1, 2, 3 for Richard Childress Racing. But first off, Kevin Harvick, walk us through the contact between yourself and Tony Stewart.
I just lost it. I mean, I got up on the inside there and just flat out lost the thing. You know, I just trying to win a race, and, you know, I hate it. But, you know, the part that ticks you off is the spotters up there, EMF, and making you think it's coming from Tony. And, you know, Tony and I can work it out. We don't need some idiot up there, you know, stirring things up. But I just lost it. Great day for my Shell Pennzoil Chevrolet and all the guys at Richard Childress Racing. 1, 2, 3 finish. That's quite a day.
And the call by Todd Berry for you to hit pit road and get fresh tires.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we were pitting. Obviously, we were the first ones to pit, but you know, we've seen a lot of races come down, and if everybody follows you, it works out good. If everybody didn't follow us, we'd have been in trouble.
What a roll Kevin Harvick has been on. 4 straight top 10 finishes, Mike.
A hard-fought second today, Matt. There is the damage to the back end of Tony Stewart's car while racing for the lead with Kevin Harvick. That obviously is our Sprint Mobile monster moment, because that's when the race changed in an instant. With 2 to go, Kevin Harvick gets up into Stewart, who goes around out of the lead. When the race changes in an instant with NASCAR Sprint Cup Mobile, you can follow the race instantly. Steve Burns with Tony Stewart.
But Tony, how disappointing is it to lead those laps, have a great race car, and not be able to finish near the front?
Well, I think that's a pretty obvious answer. I mean, you never want to finish like that.
Your thoughts on the contact?
I guess, I don't know. I thought I left him plenty of room, so I don't know. I was far enough ahead of him that I didn't see where he hit me or when he hit me. I mean, I don't know if I'm sure somehow it was my fault, so I'm just sorry I got in his way.
Thank you, Tony.
Tony and Kevin are very good friends off the track. And as Kevin said, I'm sure the two of them can work it out together. But it is the kind of thing we have come to expect from racing on the half mile here in Thunder Valley, that even with 2 laps to go, no way to tell who's going to win this race.
Guys, this race has left me speechless.
You started the day speechless. I think you were anticipating.
I'm blown away. Just left me speechless.
But I tell you, this was the 1-year anniversary of this new car. What we at one time was calling the car tomorrow, and it was different problems that caused it, but same results. Joe Gibbs Racing today, between Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, and Tony Stewart, led over 300 laps of this race. The bottom line, just like a year ago, they didn't go to victory lane. But I was glad Matt Yoakum asked Kevin Harvick about Todd Berry's car. Certainly Harvick, Boyer, and Burton did their job, but Scott Miller, Todd Berry, and Gil Martin as the crew chiefs, they made the right call by bringing those cars to pit road to get those 4 tires.
Race fans leave their Bristol tickets in their will. You do not give away tickets to this place, and today you've seen a great example of why. Kevin and Delana Harvick happy with second place and a sweep. for car owner Richard Childress, something that has never happened in all the years of Richard Childress racing. Jeff Burton, a happy and popular winner. We'll be back with lots more from Thunder Valley. You are watching NASCAR.
NASCAR at Fox, a lot of sentimental value about experienced drivers. The oldest driver to win in 2 years, 40-year-old Jeff Burton. The day began here at Bristol Motor Speedway with our own DW being surprised as Mountain Dew gave him that 11 car they had such great success with. And, of course, Dale Jarrett's last ride in the 44 in a sprint cup race for points, and his father, Ned. Gentleman Ned getting the honorary starter flag moving. Kyle Busch getting into Kyle Petty. Robbie Gordon and Dave Blaney having some trouble on the track with some spins early. Everybody was okay. Clint Boyer making the move. He would finish third as this wound up, leading 81 laps early. Tony Stewart dominating in the first 300 laps in most of this race, leading for more than 100 of those. In this wreck, watch Ryan Newman. Came in fourth in points, your Daytona 500 winner, involved with Paul Menard. Jamie McMurray, we'll talk about his problems in a moment. 6 cars involved overall. Denny Hamlin, who led much of this race, getting into it with Casey Mears, slid back to 17th and then back up to the top 5. But Kyle Busch, your points leader and leading at the time, an alleged power steering problem causing problems. And here,
yeah, one of the more spectacular wrecks of the day. Didn't look that bad. Mike Skinner gets in the back of the 78 car. Joe Nemechek's ruptures an oil cooler up the front. Oil gets on the headers, catches the car on fire. Mike gets out okay, but again, very spectacular little incident.
Jimmy Johnson is working his way back up. You see the nice save by Jeff Burton. That would be key later for him, and Jimmy Johnson would spin and slide back and out of the picture. But Kevin Harvick and Tony Stewart, much discussion as Stewart thought Harvick went up inside, taking Tony, trying to protect his turf out. And on the green-white checker, some problems with the Denny Hamlin in his car, and Jeff Burton making the move and winning for his first career victory here at Bristol.
And the key thing right there has to be, Chris, the fact that Richard Childress Racing, a 1-2-3 finish with Jeff Burton winning, Kevin Harvick second, as well as Clint Boyer coming home third. I mean, great run for all of those RCR cars today.
With Jeff Hammond, Chris Myers in our Hollywood Hotel. We're still here at trackside, and an interesting Bristol race. Let's first talk about Jeff Burton, who only led 2 laps, and he said he didn't have the best car, but he said he had a good car, and it is about survival. So he won this basically when the Harvick-Stewart incident took place.
When that happened right there, he took his best competition guy, basically took himself out, and that was Kevin Harvick. He opened the door, but a good call right there by the crew chief and everybody at RCR to come down, put fresh tires on, but being able to get underneath that wreck, not get caught up with Kevin Harvick and be able to beat him back to that position. I mean, ultimately, that led to the win.
Had a big day for Chevrolet. They had won in the first 4. They finished 1-2-3, all for Richard Childress, as you mentioned. So Chevy dominates today. Denny Hamlin wound up 6th. And let's find out exactly what happened. He led for some 98 laps. Our Steve Burns is with Denny.
Well, Denny, I know you are disappointed. Do you know what happened at the end of the race?
Same thing that basically last year. I guess the same thing happened to Tony on the restart. Our cars just won't pick up fuel on low fuel. Anytime it's even within 10 laps on a restart, where our cars don't pick up fuel, everyone else's does. So it cost us a race. I could have held those guys off as fast as the car went after it picked back up. It's just a shame. It's yet another win taken away from this FedEx team.
Thanks for your time.
All right, thank you, Steve. And that his best finish of the season, but disappointed.
You see right there, you can see J.D. Gibbs, Joe Gibbs, crew chief Mike Ford on the 11 car. They're all standing there, you know, trying to figure out what happened. Again, you can see the disappointment in Denny's face, but here are 3 guys that know they could have won 2 races in a row for Gibbs Racing and Toyota if they had not had that problem with the fuel.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. finishing 5th. So for Hendrick, 4 of the first 5 races, he's been the best finishing Hendrick car.
He's been solid, Chris. I mean, that's the main thing so far about Dale Earnhardt Jr. is the fact that he has an opportunity to kind of like lead the parade so far. Everybody wondered about his driving ability. Well, so far, he's upholding his end of the bargain.
All right, decided to stay out. I'll ask you about that, but let's check with Chris Devoto, who's with Jr.
Well, we talked about the conflict between Tony Jr., Dale Jr., to pit or not. Your thoughts on that decision?
Yeah, there's no right or wrong. You know, you can debate it all day long. There's no answer. We might have got beat by a couple guys off pit road. I'm sure we would have finished anywhere around the top 5 anyways, but it was a great effort. But you know, I could be upset we didn't take tires and go, you know, dang it, Thomas Jr., but it was his fault that we were up there in the first place. He made the car good enough to be able to get up there. So, you know, he's on top of that box. He sees what's happening around me, and better than I can. I got to back his play every time. So we're pretty proud with our top 5 finish. You know, National Guard, Chevrolet, Amp Energy, everybody that's supporting us. We're doing good this year, and I want to keep it up. Hopefully, I've got me a good finish so I can have a good off weekend.
That's the right time to do it. The momentum rolls for Dale Jr., his 3rd straight top 5.
Well, Chris, I'm going to tell you right now, I love Dale Jr. because he said, I'm going to back my crew chief's play. He got me here. I'm going to go with him. Even though we didn't win the race, we still had a solid run all day long, and he's doing really well so far. So if they can keep that kind of chemistry up and that kind of positive attitude, well, guess what? They'll win some races pretty soon.
And if you tuned in late and wondered why Darrell Waltrip was so quiet, actually laryngitis here and had a tough time. Somebody who wasn't quiet was Kim Burton, the wife of Jeff Burton. Looked like a cheerleader, so excited. And Dick Berggren is standing by with the wife of the winner. Dick?
Indeed, with her 2 children as well, Paige and Harrison. We were watching you on the pit box as this race neared its end, and the emotion that you seem to experience. What's it like for you in these last few laps when your husband is either leading or has a chance to win one of these things?
Well, last year we came so close with 2nd and with the car tomorrow, and I knew we had tires and I knew the 11 didn't, so I don't know, I was just hoping he could keep Harvick from trying to get under him, and when I saw that happened, that he got under the 11, I don't know, it was just exciting, just very exciting.
Who's the best race driver in the world?
Jeff Burton.
How about you? Did you have fun today?
Yes, I did.
All right. How about those last few laps? How was it for you to be watching your dad having a chance to win?
Well, it was really exciting because I didn't know for sure if he was going to actually get to chase him down and, like, sort of pass him, but he did, and when he did, we were just all so happy.
He did a good job, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
All right. Thanks very much.
All right, thank you. Nice to see Dick Berggren with some young people, and I don't want to say Dick's getting up there in years, but you know that movie 10,000 BC just opened, the original title, Dick Berggren, The Early Years.
Oh.
I hope he, and we kid.
It was a good movie.
Because Dick can't hear us right now. Coming up, we're going to recap the points, how we stand after 5 races and a break before Martinsville, and then Jeff, you'll help us examine that line of demarcation, the date, some of those leaving Bristol Motor Speedway a week off. Happy St. Patrick's Day tomorrow and then Easter weekend, and then we get rolling in a couple of weeks. Martinsville, 1:30 Eastern, the pre-race show. Also the truck race on Fox Saturday from Martinsville. After Martinsville, it's off to Texas, where Jeff Burton won last year, had great success. And then in Phoenix, a couple of 1:30 starts after the weekend off, and then a night race, 8 o'clock Eastern in Phoenix.
Oh, it's going to be a great schedule as far as I'm concerned. Can't wait to go to Martinsville again. We saw a great battle last year with teammates Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson really going at it hot and heavy, so I think nothing's going to change. We're just going to roll right on into there and pick up right where we left off here today.
Yeah, tracks Jeff Burton has done well at, just like today. Richard Childress finishing 1, 2, 3, and the owner of those race teams standing by with our Dick Berggren. Dick?
And Richard Childress did some racing here at Bristol and came as close to winning one of these things as finishing 3rd. Would it have been a bigger deal to you to have won as a driver, or is today's 1, 2, 3 the bigger deal?
Dick, I tell you, today was great. You know, it's just, I'm happy for everybody at RCR and all of our sponsors and all of our fans. You know, it's just for them. You know, it's just a special, special day to have a cars run 1, 2, 3, and Jeff and AT&T, you know, winning the race.
It takes so much here in big league racing to be able to win one of these things or even finish in the top 5. How did you manage to get 3 teams, 1, 2, 3?
Again, it's just hard work, great race drivers, pit crew, Matt Clark, Ray Wright, all of the new guys that's been working our pit crews have done a fantastic job, and man, I couldn't be prouder of all of them. This here too. Okay.
Yeah, Clint Boyer just came in to congratulate Richard. Let's go to Matt Yoakum.
A stellar run by Clint Boyer in the 07. What a crazy finish to Bristol.
Man, I tell you, Monday's going to be exciting at Harvick's house with Stewart. I think the back waxing or whatever they got going on. I might go over there to check it out. might bring some boxing gloves for him. No, it was a fun day. We led it early, we kind of lost it in the pits, but it wasn't our fault. Jack Daniels Chevrolet was good. Really proud of Gil and all the guys. What a good weekend. You know, won last night and third today. Pretty good.
When you sum up today, you look back to yesterday, the old car in the Nationwide Series, today, the car tomorrow. How different was the race for you behind the wheel?
It's a lot different. I mean, the cars handle a lot different, and you know, the biggest thing was the temperature. You know, the cloud cover coming in and out. The track really changed up. We got really tight there in the sun, and was pretty good in the cloud cover early. But it was a good day.
Clint Boyer, third here in Thunder Valley.
Thank you very much, Matt. And performances today, along with the Jeff Burton's victory, 24-year-old Eric Almirola, who just a couple of days ago celebrated his birthday in for Mark Martin in the 8 car in DEI, his best career finish. Steve Burns is with Eric.
Well, Eric, you talked before the race about how itchy you were to get in the race car. You had a great day today. How does it feel after this debut in 2008?
Feels awesome to go out here and knock the cobwebs off and run 8. Makes my job easy when the car runs as good as it did. Really proud of Tony Gibson and all these guys on this U.S. Army team. They rallied behind me all day. At some points we weren't that good, and other points we were really good. So we just fought it all day, and we had a really good car there at the end. I wish we could have somehow figured out a way to get track position, because we were pretty good. I think we could have run top 5. I don't know if we were good enough to win, but we were good enough to run top 5, and these guys deserve this kind of run. They build awesome race cars. Everybody at DEI has been working really hard, burning the midnight oil to build good race cars, and they have.
Eric, you talked about knocking the cobwebs off, but did you anticipate having this good of a run?
I didn't originally, and then yesterday morning we fired off for practice, and we were really good. Man, they made a lot of changes Friday night from the practice Friday, and as soon as we hit the racetrack Saturday morning, I knew we were going to be really good. It was really easy to drive. I didn't have to hustle it, and it was still really fast. So it just makes it a lot of fun to drive.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
What a big day for Greg Biffle. Unofficially second in points, 30 markers out of the lead. What a turnaround for you and this team.
It really has been. You know, we've been running great all season, and you know, it's a big credit to all the guys at the shop, all the guys who work on this 16 team, and everybody's just worked so hard. And we've had great races, you know, great pit stops. The guys struggled the first couple of races, but man, they're really laying the heat down now. Big crew, and the engines are running good. Just couldn't be any happier right now. We would like to win, but you know, great call by Greg there to take 2 at the end. You know, maybe 4. We could have got up there and wrestled with those guys, but still another top 5 run.
And you really never stress the importance of chemistry. 9 of the 14 guys that primarily work on this car were not with this team last year, and how things, chemistry-wise, it's like flipping a switch.
Well, we got Bobby McKeith back, and he was on our team when we ran second points in 05, and he's been a big help, you know, coming back and giving Will a little bit of help, the car chief. So, and you know, Greg's got a year under his belt, understands the Roush Fenway system a little better. Robbie Reiser's been a big help. Chip, everybody has given us a lot of support, and that's a team effort, and that's why we're here.
Impressive 4th place run by Greg Biffle.
And 30 points out of first place. Kyle Busch still your points leader. Jeff Burton the winner here. His crew chief, Scott Miller, 2 years ago, won with Kevin Harvick at this track, and he's standing by. Let's check in with the crew chief.
And this is his 5th career win as a crew chief. Tell us about the adjustments that you made on that final stop and the job your driver did once he had him under him.
Well, I mean, the first thing you gotta have to get the job done like we did as a driver that can do it, and I'm just so proud of Jeff Burton. Gives us 100% every week. The last call was fairly easy for us because we weren't going to win the race from where we were, so it was just trying to make something happen, and it worked out good for us. And proud of all my RCR teammates too. 1, 2, 3 is a big deal.
Well, you were certainly watching when that incident happened in front of your car, and the move that Jeff Burton made. Tell us about it.
Well, I mean, he's the way he's weaved through wrecks since I've been working for him is miraculous. I mean, he just seems to have a 6th sense for where to be and where to stay out of trouble, and I'm just glad to have him behind the wheel.
He might well have won the race last year as well had he been willing to use the front bumper on Kyle Busch. How about that?
Well, maybe this is a little bit of payback for that. I mean, that's just, as he said back then in all the interviews, that's just not who he is. Racing that way, and maybe this
misfortune that we had today was payback for not doing that last time.
This team is full of nice guys. The crew chief, the driver, or two of them, Chris.
All right, Dick Bergman, we can add you to the list, but Scott Miller making Bardstown, Kentucky proud, and what a jump from 12th to 4th in the Sprint Cup points in the last 4 races for Jeff Burton, who is currently 4th. These are the standings after 5 races. You see Harvick, who came in 3rd stage there, Junior hanging in there, Clint Boyer, Kurt Busch currently 10th, Truex 12th.
And one thing I want to point out right now, Eric Almirola, that young man finishing 8th today. They were 18th coming here with Mark Martin driving. Because of his finish today, they've now moved up to 16th. So good job by that young man.
As we look at the rest of the points, Kyle Busch, who had a chance to win this race, finishing a couple of laps down, officially 17th in the race, but maintaining that top spot. We will continue live from Bristol Motor Speedway, where AT&T dialed up a victory for Jeff Burton.
Watch the 5, watch the 5.
Jeff Burton, your winner. Some rough moments here at Bristol Motor Speedway and the hills of Tennessee. NASCAR on Fox. Jeff Hammond, Chris Myers in the Hollywood Hotel. Larry McReynolds, Mike Joy, Darrell Waltrip upstairs in the booth. And Jeff, from here on in, starting with the next race at Bristol, you're basing your point system for the owners on the points of this year, 2008, not from last year. So this is a danger zone for some drivers like Jamie McMurray, and it's been a while for him being for this in this spot where he has no guarantee and has to qualify to get into the next race.
That's right. In 2 weeks when we go back to Martinsville, because of the performance of the 26 or the bad luck of the 26, he finds himself outside the top 35 as far as the owner points are concerned. So that gives him no guarantees. He's got to go to Martinsville and qualify that 26 car unless, and I think, you know, there's a couple options there. I mean, there may be some points moved around as far as the 17 and 26 by Roush if they wanted to try to protect him. But if he doesn't, that driver has got to qualify his way in, and because of his performance today, Sam Hornish Jr. is our only rookie that's inside the top 35, so he can breathe a sigh of relief as far as going to Martinsville.
So, Larry, some pressure for not only the drivers, the crew chief, the team. Some people could be left out in the cold that aren't used to that.
Well, yeah, and Chris, this is a battle that doesn't end here. It can move each and every week, and as we've seen before, it'll go all the way down to Homestead about who ends up in the top 35. But one point I'd love to make, 4 teams that are in the top 35 as we leave here, they have never experienced it before, and that's Brian Vickers in the 83 car and all 3 of the Michael Waltrip racing cars. All last year, the first 5 races this year, they had to worry about go or go home and qualify. Now they can actually worry about racing.
There was really only one change in and out of the top 35. There were 3 cars that moved up, 30th, 31st and 32nd place, but that hauler right there, Jamie McMurray's, he has just had a totally luckless season, and he fell out of the top 35 to 36th after this race, so by a mere 4 points. Jamie is going to have to qualify when we go to Martinsville in 2 weeks. The other drivers, Blaney, Franchitti, Regan Smith, Kyle Petty, they were out of the top 35 coming in here today, so that's not really surprising to see them right there.
Yeah, I believe the big thing is going to be what they do with these champions points for Roush and Petty. Are they going to swap those around?
I understand doing that at the start of the season or when you have a driver change like the 44 is going to have. I understand that, but in the mid-season, okay, you're out, so you get my points and you get this champion's provisional.
I agree.
Because you don't need it over here. That's pretty confusing.
I agree, but I think that's going to be the challenge for NASCAR.
And I don't think that would be right. I think the only way that would be right is if they absolutely put Kyle Petty in the 43 car with the 43 number. That's the only way that would be right or wrong in the rule book.
So stay tuned, fellas, and we'll see how it sorts out in 2 weeks when we go to Martinsville and have knockout qualifying on Speed Channel once again.
Yeah, you know what you call that right there? As the world turns in this situation right now, as NASCAR with the world turns, because we don't know what's going to happen. There'll be a lot of decisions to be made. And again, I kind of echo the same sentiments my guys up there and colleagues up there in the booth. I don't like it. I wish we could do something about it. But, you know, again, NASCAR has the rules that you can work within. So there could be some monkey motions going on, but I think, man, if he's got to be good enough to get in the race, it's fine. If he's not, then he needs to go to the house.
I hope Darrell Waltrip's throat feels better. He said he was going to talk about Santini at the toll booth. I think in a few moments he'll have a week to rest and he'll be fine. Laryngitis. He said he's not any pain. He was probably more frustrated than anything not being able to talk through that race. And a little frustration for Dale Jarrett. It's his last hurrah behind the wheel, the veteran, the former champ, and he addressed the other drivers. It's one of the unique things in NASCAR, of course. The drivers meeting before each race when
the
they all gather,
camaraderie and everything,
the competition, and it was a chance for Dale to talk to his guys.
Enjoy this. We all have our time in this, and mine has been fantastic. And to me, it's been an honor and a privilege to be able to race in this series and say that I've raced with and against and sometimes beat the best in the world. And so thanks for allowing me to do that. But enjoy it. It's a great sport, and you help make it what it is. Thank you.
Chris Kubota talked with Dale Jarrett after today's 37th place finish at Bristol.
Well, it's not the last time Dale Jarrett will be in a race car. We still have the All-Star Challenge, but it is the last points race. Dale, I know it wasn't the result that you wanted, but your thoughts as you walk out of Bristol for the last time?
Probably just thankful for everything that's happened in my career, the good and the bad. You know, the good things were great. It made life fun. The bad things taught me good lessons in life. And thanks to a lot of people in this garage area that I can still call friends. I don't think I made any enemies today, so that's a good thing. And, yeah, it wasn't the day that we wanted for this UPS Toyota, but, you know, we battled and we had some things happening from the beginning to the very last couple of laps there. But I'm going out with the best sponsor in the business in UPS, and I'm proud of that. And just glad this is over, and we'll move forward from here.
When asked about driving these race cars, Dale Jarrett said it's been an honor and a privilege.
Thanks very much, Krista, and for Dale Jarrett. He's been a terrific champion.
You cannot sum it up, I mean, any better than the fact he is a champion in both on the track as well as off.
And as certainly his responsibilities as a driver delivered over the years. Tonight on Fox, coming up, King of the Hill, American Dad, The Simpsons, and more King of the Hill. Well, look, we've had Dodge, a couple of Ford wins, Toyota, and now Chevy. It's wide open as we get a break before we head to Martinsville.
It's racing at its finest right now. We're getting ready to go to another great racetrack in a couple of weeks at Martinsville, and we'll carry the battle right on to there.
Tony Stewart led the most laps. Jeff Burton's son there enjoying his dad's victory as Jeff Burton pulls into victory lane. For Darrell, Larry, Jeff, Steve, Matt, Krista, Dick, I'm Chris Myers for our entire production crew. Thank you.
Can't wait to hear these double